Yes, I want to start recording. I also want to do the video. Yes, allow, come. Okay, start sharing. Right, I want to welcome all of us to this class. This is our session 10. And we look at session 10, we're looking at the journey of entrepreneurship. And I believe that all of us at this stage or this point in time, having come through almost slightly below 3/4 the journey of the course, you are now getting to understand more the concepts of entrepreneurship. I want to welcome all of you. I see we are still with just 5 of us. And the others will be joining us shortly. Ndiku, Dennis. Ndiku, hi, how are you? Ndiku here. Rebecca Kimani, hi, how are you? Regina Nduku, how are you? Wow, they have either muted or they're just using the audio. But as we go along, I want to begin by saying that it's exciting to study about entrepreneurship. You never get tired studying entrepreneurship. I want to tell you that. Anytime you look at a book on entrepreneurship, or as you are observant in terms of seeing what's happening in the economy today, I want to tell you it's exciting to talk about entrepreneurship. And I believe all of us, as we continue, we are continuing to change in our thinking. We are also continuing to have what we call a mind shift when we also think about entrepreneurs as people who are dukawalas, selling and buying, or the mamambogas, or the matatu operators, or the you may say the border borders, you may say the supermarkets. All these are entrepreneurs. And of course, there's also entrepreneurship in organizations, companies, businesses. The organizations are run by, some of them are run by entrepreneurs. They transform their businesses into a number of bigger businesses, or expand them or grow them. These are all but the process of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship, as we have continued to study in this course, is really a way of life. If you remember our first definition, we said entrepreneurship is a way of life. And so even you, as you continue, I believe entrepreneurship is shaping and changing your thinking. Is that true? Let me hear some comments. Please, can you comment a little bit? Comment on the journey of entrepreneurship. Comment. Please comment on. I see. Please comment on the journey of entrepreneurship. Bit. Comment on the journey of entrepreneurship to date. I want to hear some of your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Please comment on the journey of entrepreneurship to date. Can I read some of the responses? I see we've joined by Beatrice Mukirai. Hi, Beatrice, how are you? Yes. Comment on this. Please comment on the journey of entrepreneurship to date. So far, as you've noted, we have gone on a trajectory defining entrepreneurship, beginning with the small and micro enterprises, looking at the growth of enterprises, looking at planning as key, and so on. So can I hear some of your views, please, as a way of introduction to our journey? May I hear something about entrepreneurship? May I hear from you? I'm waiting. As we said, we are open. You can grab the mic and say speak, or you can type your response. There's space there, we can chat. I want you to comment on the journey of entrepreneurship. Right, so far to date. Welcome, I see Beatrice Mukirai, I see a number of, see Nduku, Regina. Yeah, I want to hear from you. Either you type or you can grab the mic and tell us. Meanwhile, as you think about the journey of entrepreneurship, Lima has posted that question, that comment. I want to hear from you. I would want to go to the next stage by looking at today's menu, what we have today. And as you can see here, we're talking of issues and trends in the MSME sector. The M is micro, S is small enterprise sector, and M is medium enterprise sector. I mean, the whole of this that's a subsectors when you look at how we classified our businesses. You remember the bottom line, the smallest, the many large number are a micro. You know, those are the old informal, the juakali as they talk about them, and so on. So we will be looking at what are some of the issues and trends. And I see here some comments. I want to get some comments from members. Let's see the comments here. Yes, Masters Enterprise is the process by which businesses are set up, opportunities are achieved together with goals, taking financial risks. Yes, thank you very much, Mwasi. Thank you for that. Those comments. Yes, it is a process. Entrepreneurship is not a one-stop journey. It's not that I have arrived. Entrepreneurship continues. If you look at companies like BidGo, you know, started as a family business in Nyeri in the pre-colonial times, during colonial times, not the pre, but colonial times in the 50s and 60s. And then, of course, after independence. Then, so far as you see BidGo is a giant today, the East African conglomerate, as you can put it, maybe, because it is almost touching every corner of this of the East African region with its products, soap, household products, cooking oil, and many others. So you look at the journey like that one, or look at the journey for Equity Bank. You know, you can say behind Equity Bank, Mwangi, who is Dr. Mwangi, who is the CEO and founder, really, the journey starting as a small organization, as a financial institution, East African Building Society, and grew up to be a giant we know today. Many of these companies that were started by individuals have grown to big companies. Tuskys, although it's going into a lot of trouble now, read in the papers recently, it's also a journey started by one person. You know, Tuskys supermarkets. Some of these giants, as you see today, companies that started, they impact on entrepreneurship journey, the founders. When you look at Steve Jobs, for example, or people like the founder of the owner of Virgin group of companies, these are people whom you can think and say, sure, these people have had an opportunity. It started small and grew to big companies. So entrepreneurship is a journey. You can think about entrepreneurship in your village, your own estate where you live in town. You can think of you can see entrepreneurs around all over. So entrepreneurs go across the board, as we say. These are micro, small. Micro does not mean that they are mambamagas only, but somebody who starts alone, as we define micro, employing between 0, that means the owner manager, to 9 people. It's a micro enterprise. Could be doing lots of business, you know, as you do that. Rebecca Kimani, thank you for your comment. The President has embraced the use of modern technology, right? We cannot forget about modern technologies. We'll see shortly in terms of trends of entrepreneurship today. It has embraced modern technology, even for the SMEs, and this has led to increased sales and return. Yeah, we see this. And so what is happening is that entrepreneurship is really is way of life. And even you as individuals, as you sit there in your at home or wherever you are studying from, you're actually an entrepreneur in yourself. You are a resource. And so you should look at yourself as a process also. You are not arrived yet. You are a process. You are developing yourself, learning skills and applying them and so on, so that in the future you are able to earn an income and contribute to the development of this country and beyond. So these are things that we can talk about when we say what entrepreneurship journey is. So when we talk of issues and trends, we are looking at actually what affects entrepreneurship. What are those things that affect this journey of entrepreneurship? Welcome, members. I see a number of us have joined us. Lemayan, Asante, Ashton, Odiambo, Karibu. Junior Mike, yes, Karibuni. As we continue, I want to go to slide number 2, which is talking about what? I see the picture for the day. What do we see in that picture? Anybody? What is in this? You can also relate it to entrepreneurship. What is in that picture we see there? What is in this picture? Picture for the day, as we can see there. What do you see? And can we relate it to entrepreneurship? It gives you a little thought. Think a little more. Let's see who get it right. Mercy is typing yes. Angela Otieno, karibu. Yes, anybody wants to say something? You are welcome. You may chat, or you can grab your mic and talk, and so that we are able to communicate. What do we see in this picture? Anybody? Anybody? What do we see in this picture? Yes? Lamayan has muted. I see Lamayan, I see Mengage, Emmanuel Ngeti, not Mengage. Yeah? Let's see Hashon Riambo. Are you there, Hashon? Helen, are you there? Yeah? I want to hear some of you say something about that picture. Maina Manjugu. What do we see here? Yes, Helen. I see you are there. Tell us, what do you see in this picture, Helen? Mercy, the world at large showing the development of geographical and international expanding of the evolving world. Yeah, what is that? You see that. But what specifically can you see there? It's like a window, a sun rising, meaning how entrepreneurship has spread throughout the globe. Yes? Yes, what else? Where is this person seated who took this picture? Where is he seated when we talk about, when we see that? Look at it. Where is he seated? You see there, do you see a window? Right? Somebody seated inside the aircraft. Some will be flying soon, not. Yeah, there's a beam of light at the end, which is symbolic, shows the journey of the entrepreneur. Yes, my junior, see that? A rising sun on sunlight, which may mean opportunity for entrepreneurs. Yes, very good. Could it also be the setting sun? I see most of you are talking of rising sun. Can it also be the setting sun? What could be the difference, setting and rising? Yeah? Rising light sunlight, which means opportunity. Yes, very good. It means opportunities. Yeah, your answers are, you're somewhere. Yes, another plane in destination somewhere. Excellent. Well, where to Albert? I can see, you can see it well. Somebody is sitting in the aeroplane. This is Malimu talking. And he took that picture through the window, and down there you see a town. You see some buildings down there. It's actually the dawn. An aeroplane destination somewhere. Yes, you see the dawn. You can see the dawning here. As you can see, it's like dawn. It could be also setting sun, but it's the dawning. It's a dawn in the morning, and you can see buildings down here. And this plane is taking off. This one here is a wing. I like sitting in the window seat many times. When you fly next, God willing, the open airs, and you're going somewhere. Some of you will be going out there for your studies or work or internationally. That's what we aim. When we teach you, when we're training you, we are training you not only for local jobs or local environment or economy, but we are looking at you as international students prepared for the world. You are studying at ZTEC, a great university, and we're teaching you entrepreneurship for this particular course. Of course, you do other courses, but preparing you for the international jobs. See it that way. Look at our own Minister Amina. She's aiming for the WTO job, garnering for that. Look at that. And Mkhisa Kitui is working for one of the UNCTAD. You see? So you see, you people, some of you will be out there as ambassadors, as businessmen and women. So this window, as you take that picture, the picture shows a view from an airplane window showing sunrise, which present new opportunities. This is what we're saying, that entrepreneurship opens opportunities. And there are also issues and challenges that we can see. Yes. Now let's move the next one. Enough with that. But you can be thinking about that. So for you as a student, I want to encourage you that there are many opportunities you can look at in your life as you go through this program, as you go through your studies at the university, your degree. Your degree is just a step one, but there are many opportunities I want to tell you. I'm saying this because the other day we were sitting in a panel as a supervisor of a PhD student doing a doctoral degree in entrepreneurship. And he was talking about a number of things, very interesting things. Some of you will be doing that. So we're saying the opportunities. You start a journey where you are, And entrepreneurship opens doors in many areas. Now, let's look at the next slide. Let's move on. The next one brings us to the quote for the day. Malim likes about quotes. Wow, Malim, you love quotes. Of course, Malim loves quotes. Yeah, Malim loves quotes because they actually give us something interesting. There are wise sayings. And here is one from Kevin McCarthy. Who was Kevin McCarthy? That's a question I will pose to you. That find out who was Kevin McCarthy. He said this: small business creates more jobs than large corporations. Small jobs, small businesses, the micros. You look at the micros in this country. Today in COVID-19 era, you see everybody is running to buy, to be selling something. Even outside your gate there or out there when you go walk to the trading center, I encourage you not to do that. But if you must prepare yourself, dress well, and mask yourself, and sanitize your hands and so on. What we're saying here is micro enterprise. Everybody's engaged in this. They're either using their cars, boots of their cars, selling fruits, selling vegetables, fresh stuff. That's what they're doing. And so they're engaging. In this era, for example, what we see as we'll be seeing trends and events, what's happening is everybody's being turned into an entrepreneur. Even the senior people who are sitting in the high offices out there today, those offices have closed, they're at home. And what are they doing? They're engaging in a small way or another of entrepreneurship. Either they're rearing chicken or doing something else or selling, those who have some think about buying products elsewhere, fresh produce, and bring them to the marketplace. And where is the marketplace? Everywhere, even the estates out there, even on the roadside, and so on. Yes, Nyatiji Nyakwara, you want to say something about that? This quotation: small business creates more jobs than large corporations. It is true. Large corporations, you can number them in Nairobi. They may not be more than 200, 150 large corporations. But small businesses, millions in Nairobi. Look at the city of Nairobi, or Mombasa, or Nyeri, if you are from Nyeri, or even Ruiru, our university around there. The big corporations we see in Ruiru are which ones? We see Defki out there. We see some of the supermarkets, spinners there, a few other large companies there. But the rest are micro and small enterprises, engaging Kenyans busy engaging themselves in buying, selling, including the tuk-tuks and the borders. You see the boys there. I don't see many girls who tuk-tuk pretending to borders. But a large number of the youth are engaged in small business, and they create more jobs. And that is by observation, and even research has shown that. And that's what Kevin McCarthy said. And we can affirm that today, that small business creates more. Now, as an introduction to this session today, it's just to recap about Vision 2020 seeks to transform Kenya and recognize the role of MSMEs. I want you to read one of the documents we want you to encourage you to read is Vision 2020. Vision 2020 was a blueprint of Kenya's development plan. It was envisaged about 10 years ago, looking at where Kenya wanted to go, to be a medium enterprise, a medium income country by the year 2030, not 2030, sorry. So 2030 is a Vision 2030, which is really has pillars, the economic, social, education. You can see all those. But I encourage you to read and see. They recognize the role of MSMEs, by the way, the role of micro, small, and medium enterprises. MSMEs are considered foundation for manufacturing and other important socio-economic development in the country. Socio-economic, you see, the role of SMEs cannot be overemphasized more than that. It's a foundation. Manufacturing, for example, small scale. We want to turn our country into a manufacturing country. What are we saying? We need to develop the micro and small enterprises. This is key. The Juakali guys there, the fellows making furniture. You see the fellows making furniture there. You see the fellows who are painting, and all these guys out there are actually manufacturers for tomorrow. And we see innovations coming in. Your university, by the way, is setting up an innovation center. And it's going to be very interesting. Some of you are very keen, might want to come back to graduate or even before to see what innovations you can bring on board. And the university gives you an opportunity to be able to think about manufacturing, coming up with innovations that can be able to be commercialized and be able to generate income for you and for others. Challenges and opportunities exist, of course. In the journey, as we saw that plan, if I take you back to this plan here, when you have flown, some of you might have flown. Interesting when you fly. Out there is no road in the air. The plane has to move at a certain speed. Ground speed before it lifts off, that means it begins rising out of the ground, is not less than 250 kilometers an hour, not less than that. You see it, runaway is about a 2 kilometer, 1 kilometer point something. So it has to go with speed and take off. So there's resistance of the air, and it has to get to rise. And when it rises, it continues, the engines, the two of them or one engine, are really laboring to make sure that they lift the plane all up to the altitude that is for cruising. Some of them cruise at smaller planes at 19,000 feet. The bigger ones continue from 19 all the way to 20 to 30,000 feet. They go up there 28,000 feet, up there, very high. They go all high up there, meters, I think. They rise up and move with speed. And when they're up there, the air is there, the turbulence, the winds. You remember the geography. You go back to your geography lessons. There are winds in the air moving from north, south, east, west. So the plane has to continue going up. So there's a lot of resistance. And the pilot always says we have weather challenges. Remember when we were one time going back to a little history, when I was flying from New York coming to Nairobi. Just coming, I was studying that time in Canada, but coming to New York. And we got these winds across the Atlantic Ocean. And it was very, very interesting because, the plane is literally shaking. And so resistance, but the engines, the aircraft, the manufacturing of it really continues to go through and brought us back safely home. Now, what I'm saying is business go through different also challenges, which we'll be seeing as we go along. So as we go along, as journeys of businesses continue, there are challenges and there are also opportunities. Where there are challenges, opportunities, like COVID-19. COVID-19 that has challenged the whole world and brought it almost to its knees, really to its knees. When you see the number of affected and the lost ones we lost through this disease, there are challenges. And then, of course, there are opportunities. People are beginning to do things that they would not normally think of doing. Manufacturing, for example, the sanitizers, the PPEs, even how to be able to make life better and so on and so forth and overcome this challenge. So opportunities exist, and we see that even in business, they're there. Now, as we talk about these things, what are we expected by the end of this session to have covered? This is the menu for the day. And the menu looks at, one, we want to appreciate the role of the SMEs. Appreciating their role. They are very important. MSMEs, they play a key role. Just as a recap, analyze the issues in MSE development in Kenya. What are some of the issues that are there today? Issues are things that are really at the heart of the development of any organization or any institution or any process. And then, of course, discussing their both sides, cons and pros. And then we discuss the challenges facing MSEs in Kenya. What are the challenges facing MSEs? Then we analyze the future of MSEs, not only in Kenya, but even globally. We go to the next level. We look at that. And before we do that, Mwalimu likes to do some kind of quick recap. And the quick recap is last session, we looked at business growth and we also looked at incubation. So I want us just to reflect a little bit, because when we talk of business growth, here is where we can see some challenges and issues arising. So what is business growth? In this case, growth is crucial to long-term survival of a business. That we know. Any enterprise starting, be it small, be that micro, that mama mboga. Of course, some of them don't intend to do much, but some start. You've seen some mama mboga there, selling vegetables and fruits, laying down on the floor, on the ground. Next, they make a small stall, they raise it, they put some shelves there. Next, they have a shed. Next, you see them opening a grocery. And next, who knows, they open a big supermarket that deals with only groceries, vegetables, and greens, and so on. The growth journey. The fellow who is an employee of that, the border we see around, some of them, if they have a vision, if they're entrepreneurial, they are employed only for some time, and they have a vision. They say, one day I want to own my own piki for border, and I want to employ other people, and I want to be the manager of my own business. That's what some of them think, which is good. They have growth mind. They have entrepreneurial mind. Any entrepreneurial mind thinks of growth. It's not stagnation. You want to move to the next level. Any entrepreneurial mind looks at the next step. After this step, it's a challenge. I've overcome it. What about the next? Then, so businesses, this is, as you see this, growth is crucial to the long-term survival of the business. This is noted by nibusinessinfo.co.ke. I would want you to search this and check, pointing out the clear-cut benefits of growth. So the clear-cut benefits of growth are which ones? Number one, keep your product and service relevant to the new market. Yes, you will grow by ensuring that the products you are selling are actually relevant to the new markets. Otherwise, you fall by the wayside. Then locate and identify new sales opportunities. Growth gives you that opportunity, locating new sales, because you grow by looking at new markets, segmenting the market further. You expand range of products and services. Yes, that's the benefit you get. Expansion, acquire new customers and increase customer loyalty, for those who are existing and so on. Loyalty, boost the business credibility. Of course, if you are growing, you are actually credible. Nobody wants to do business with a business that is stagnant, selling the same old stuff. I remember some of the shops in my village when I was growing up. The same products that were there on the shelf last year or 2 years ago are the same ones which are there even this year, that year. No change. And the others change products. New products come in the market, they bring new ones and so on. And those who are growing, those who did never grow, actually close shop at the end of the day. So growing means you are getting new products, new services, acquiring new customers, increasing your customer loyalty. People come and say, wow, what is new today? Remember, this is a shopkeeper when I started teaching in 1974, high school out there in the village, a place called Capsule Kwon High School, where I was teaching, 1974. Some of you will wonder why. Yes, many years back. But when I was teaching, commerce, by the way, business, and here was this shopkeeper. There were two of them. One of them was, of course, very, very entrepreneurial. He was bringing new products every day, every month. When you go there, we went there, with a colleague of mine, we used to go there and say, Malimu, we have brought new products now, and they are the new products, they are for you. But the other one was selling the same old stuff. The one who was always bringing new products, acquired new customers. His shop was always full of people who are income earners. At that time, there were teachers mainly from the community and the government officers who were there. So that shop progressed very well. He grew his shop. He went farther. He went to the supermarket. He expanded and went very far. The other fellow just continued selling his old stuff until he closed shop. So what I'm saying here is that new customers, increase loyalty, and so on. Boost the business credibility. Yes, you're credible. Go to Mahinda shop. In fact, it calls Mr. Mahinda late now, passed on. Go to Mahinda shop. Don't go to John's shop. Go to Mahinda shop. And that's where we got a lot of, tell you, business growth. So, credibility allows business to broaden. Yes, supply base. Even suppliers come in. They got into even selling electronics. He used to be just a small grocery, but grew into electronics, many other things, and so on. Increase stability and profit. I definitely did that. Attract the best talents to your business. If it's a growing business, you will attract the best talents, employees. A company that's growing, I want you to think about some companies that are growing today. Some of them like Safaricom. I'm sure many people want to work for Safaricom. Many of you. I'm sure after you finish there, if I get a place Safaricom or Equity Bank. Some of those growing businesses and companies. Those that are not growing, maybe we don't know whether it will go do next year or not. Right. Next, I wanted to recap on business incubation. Just again, as a recap, to tell us about, so that when we look at the challenges come across the board. And when you talk of business incubation, what is business incubation? Business incubation, as the name suggests, is like a nursery. Sorry. It's like a nursery where, some of you are from the farming community and in the village, in the countryside, there's a nursery for trees where we buy trees from people and we go and grow them, or a nursery for chicken. You buy chicks, day-old chicks, and are incubated. Day-old chicks from eggs to chicks, and you buy and go and grow them and sell them and so on. Okay. Business are the same, as we said last time. Business incubation is the name given to process. It's the name given to process wherein individuals or an organization supports the establishment and growth of startups. Here we talk of business startups, small business. When you start a business, some of you, when you finish, I'm sure even before you finish your studies here, you may want to go and start your own business. Where do you begin? Where do you start? A business incubator is a place to start. Because what? It gives you opportunity to be able to refine your ideas, test the market, and be able to move. I had an opportunity to visit, it was a study tour to UK, and it's way back about 15 years ago. They had business incubators in UK for graduates, whereby graduates, university, it was the universities, a consortium of universities, private sector, and the government, working together to ensure that the graduates who are keen on innovation and starting their own businesses were given an opportunity. So they started incubation centers, financed by the tripartite team, university providing the faculty, keen innovation, the private sector providing funds, and taking up the new innovations to go and commercialize, the government providing the regulations and the infrastructure and so on. Those were what was happening. Today in Kenya, we also have the same. Search about incubators in Kenya. There are quite a few of them. Okay, maybe running differently, but they're there. Same thing. This is what we define incubation as. Those supporting startup enterprises, companies are called business incubators. Business incubation is also an entrepreneurial, economic, social development process. I need to note those. We didn't define it this way last time. We went through very quickly. I think time was present there. But now you see, it's entrepreneurial, economic, and social development process designed to nurture businesses from the idea generation to startup and to make them to grow up to companies, big companies, from startup to micro to, you remember the journey, we saw the journey of growth anyway. We saw from be pre-startup, startup, and then grow into a large company and so on. It's done through comprehensive business support program. Yes, what do? They support, help establish and accelerate the growth, support in terms of infrastructure. A place where you have the infrastructure, if it's a question of if you are doing an innovation, they give you the infrastructure in terms of the equipment, and they give you some kind of advice, somebody to walk with you the journey of being able to develop your innovation and move it to a commercialization level. They support you financially. Even Kenya, we have such a kind of business incubators anyway. And I want to encourage you to look at what incubators are there. You might be inclined, you might be interested really to be able to think about what can I do with myself. Even when you are studying, the only challenge we have today is COVID. Of course, you can't move physically, but you can do it by virtual communication and so on. So for finding out what business incubators are available, what are your interests, and I want to tell you, you will be on a journey, just as we said, entrepreneurial journey, to be able to start something of a lifetime where you'll be able to even employ your colleagues and others. So business incubators are there. They're supporting. They provide infrastructure. They provide support, financial, in terms of advice and more of mentoring and so on. These business incubators see the growth potential and weigh the opportunity before they support. Yeah, your business idea must be very, very good. Must be viable. If it's not a viable business idea, then you will not be able to go on. Ladies and gentlemen, that just 2 slides, so just about a recap of what we did in the last session. That's session 9. We talked about business growth, and we said what are the crucial things, the nitty-gritty about business growth, which you need to bear in mind, because when we look at the challenges and issues and challenges, many of them stem from the growing business. When the business is growing, there are a number of things that happen. Challenges in sales, challenges, for example, in the new products and markets and so on. These are challenges that we'll be seeing and trends of what's happening. And then incubation, what are the current trends in business? Business incubators are the current trend, I'll tell you that, because they have not been here for many years, maybe the last 5 to 10 years. Yeah, they were not there. You could talk about business incubators, but they were more or less foreign. Here now in this country, we have a number of business incubators, and I want to encourage you to search where are the business incubators in Kenya, and which of these business incubators support graduates like yourselves, and so that you are on course. And it's not like when those years back where graduates got a job directly. You know, they recruited us when you were in university. You got a letter, you had offers. For you, you have to find your space. And therefore, I want to encourage you, as we study some of these topics, they are not just for passing exams and getting a grade, but they should be able to help you to get a footing as you journey on in your life as a Kenyan, authentic Kenyan, and a citizen of the world, as somebody used to say. Now, we come back to look at now MSMEs. Our topic is issues and trends. For those of you who have joined us, Karibuni. See a number of you have joined us after we started. Kibe, Kiprotich, Kipiegon, Leah, and a number of you. Welcome. As we continue, we talk about what MSMEs. Again, we revisit the MSMEs before we look at trends and issues. Sorry, please let me hear. Yeah. We want to talk about MSMEs in Kenya. And when we talk of MSMEs in Kenya, what are they? The large corporations, these are some comments, some concept. Large corporations have overshadowed the MSMEs. Why is that so? It's because we tend to think about big employment. We talked about big companies in this country. Company, Kenya Airways, like now it's going through a lot of wind turbulence. It sent home all its workers and paid leave. Many companies, banks are struggling. Every business is struggling today. But in the real, when it's normal time, the large corporations are the ones who are calling the shots. But really, the people who are working are MSMEs. They are doing a great job because they contribute a lot to this economy. MSMEs constitute 98% of business in Kenya. Look at that. 98% of the economy is made up of the micro, small enterprises, the small enterprises, the medium enterprises, those employing up to 100 people. They are really the larger number of them are actually the small enterprises, large percentage, and micros. They constitute 98%. So 2% or thereabouts are from the large corporations. Now, the MSMEs are defined according to the number of employees. You remember we did define that last time. Here we are. We define them again as a review. It's helped us to refocus when we look at what are the challenges. Challenges faced by issues and challenges and trends for micro enterprises are slightly different from those of small enterprises and slightly more different from those of medium. So there are certain common areas and there are certain areas that are uncommon for these businesses. If you drew like 3 concentric circles that intersect at one point, 3 circles intersecting at one point, you'll find that the center there is where there are common issues and trends. But outside, each one has its own challenges and issues. Growth of many other things which we'll be seeing shortly. MSMEs are in all sectors. These are again what we saw last time. Let's recap that these are in all sectors. They operate formally and informally. Formally are their registered businesses. They have a business name. They are either sole proprietorships, XYZ and sons or daughters, wholesaling or whatever. There can be partnerships. There can be also private limited companies. They are formal businesses. Informally, they don't have any registration. They only operate on a daily license, for example. Daily license. If they are selling stuff out there, then they have that daily license. They used to call it kanjo. They pay some, either is it 40 shillings or 20 shillings per day, or a monthly. They have a monthly fee they pay and they operate. Informally, they don't have a business name. They just operate informally. Okay, they are all more or less they're micro. Small would be, you have to be formal. Seasonal, also some of them are seasonal, and some of them are located anywhere. So when we look at the features of the micro enterprises, they are anywhere. At the construction site, big construction company there, you'll see the micros there. There are men and women selling foodstuffs, lunch hour, chakula, lunch break. Now people providing food in the construction side, man. These are where this brick and mortar is being the common commodity there. But you see, there are people there providing services. When you look at the construction side, there's also a small kiosk selling common things, and so on. So this micro enterprise, so small enterprise, micro basically, everywhere. Even small businesses and so on. Anywhere in this country where there's communication, you'll find products there. They contribute, okay, when you look at the statistics here, they are interesting statistics because statistics here have varied along the time. But they started small. In 19, for example, 93, they were only contributing 13% of the economy. 1993. How many years are those ago? That's over 27 years ago. They are only contributing 30%. Today, they are over 50% of the economy. They are contributing more than 50%. Again, the statistics are there. Can you be a National Bureau of Statistics? You search, you find that they are really contributing a big chunk. You see, they're 98% of the economy. So they're over 50% of the economy in terms of contribution to the economy, job-wise and so on. They play a critical role in the economy, invention, innovation, foster competition. These are, we put together micro, small, medium enterprise, because micros grow to be small and small move on to be medium and so on. So they actually play a key role. The invention, the innovations we see today, there's a lot of innovation going on, especially surrounding the mitigation of COVID-19, a lot of innovation going on. They foster also competition. You know, competition is good. Monopoly becomes a problem. Monopoly means you can charge any price. You are the only one supplying these goods. The quality could vary, but you don't care because there's no other person supplying the product. So they foster competition. And we know competition is key in every area, or even in life, is competition. So basically, some of the features, we can talk of features of MSMEs. It's just laying the foundation in terms of recap to think about what, when we talk about the micro and small enterprises, medium enterprise, what do we mean exactly? There are those businesses that contribute quite a bit in terms of the economy. I want us to pause for a minute here. You know, I want us to pause for a minute here, just a little bit here. When we talk about some questions, some people have asked questions, sir, what are business startups? What are business startups? Business startups really are those businesses that what? You may say, now those businesses that are starting. You remember in the last session, we had that graphic illustration where we had before a business starts, where is it? Let's pause for a minute. Before a business starts, here Mas Ngopa has answered you, Jaika. Business startups is a process of venturing business ideas and opportunities arising in search of enough financial back. Well, that's a classical definition. But what we're saying about business startups are those businesses in our community that are just beginning. If you are going to go into business, for example, yourself, or you and a group of friends, you know, if you're going to go to business with a group of friends, what does that mean? What it means is this. You have not started a business before, and you'll be thinking of first ideas. Then opportunities come. You convert ideas into opportunities, and then you weigh this. You evaluate this opportunity in terms of viability. Is this opportunity going to be long term? Is it short term? Will it give us more? What are the returns compared to other opportunities? And then you zero in on that specific opportunity that you see we are going to do. If you are going to do, for example, you want to start a restaurant. Huh? Hello, yes, is somebody on the line? Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine.
Yes, you want to say something about business startups. Who is that, please? Who is that on the line?
Then I'm joining.
Yes? Hello? Hello? Somebody else, just muted her phone or his phone. It's just given me by her number, BBSM. So it's not given the name. I would have called her by name. But now, for now, we're talking about you and a group of friends want to start a restaurant. You have zeroed in on a restaurant around the campus, for example, because you realize people are running, maybe the kind of food eateries around the campus are not the standard you would want to see. So you begin with your friends to now begin thinking about how do we go about starting this enterprise. Your enterprise is classified as a business startup, and you can get funding as a business startup. You can get non-financial intervention as non-startup training, be there. So that's classified as business startups in really the real sense of business startups. So it's a process of venturing, getting into an enterprise, starting your own. I talked about a restaurant. There are many others, right? That's from Mike. I hope that answers you. Now, when we talk about the features, these are the common features that we see within the MSMEs. And I want to encourage you, you search, read more about the micro, small, and medium enterprises, not only in Kenya, but globally. See what they are doing globally as well. Then, what is the role of these businesses? Again, here, we just quickly look at the role of these businesses. And there are quite a number here listed. Engine of growth and promote equitable development. Anybody who wants to say something about this? Engine of growth and promote equitable development. I want to zero in here on equitable development. What is equitable development in your thinking? Because we are recapping some of these. We discussed them, I mean, some times back, some session when we talk about MSMEs. But what is equitable development in your views? What is equitable development in your views? What is equitable development in your view? Give examples. Give relevant examples. We are looking at the micro, small, and medium enterprises as a way of promoting equitable development. In your view, what does it mean? Give us some relevant examples of equitable development. We are looking at business that employ less than 10, those employ between 10 and 19, those employ between 20 and 49, that means small, and the medium, those employ between 50 and 99. What is equitable development? Can we ask ourselves that? Because engine for growth, yeah? Of course, this statistic here is over 90%, which is 98 we saw earlier, yeah? That's what somebody think about. What is equitable development? Can I hear something? Can I read something from you guys? We share? Helena Tieno, we want to get some comment from you. And Eunice Wambale. Eunice, can we get something from you? Yeah? Yes? I'm hearing that, and I thank you very much. As we also do what we're doing, multitasking here, we ask ourselves, thank you, Mike Jr. You said there is a regulatory sandbox, an incubator for SMEs that needs to get involved in capital markets. Yes. You see that? Thank you very much, Mike Jr. I hope you're already there in the capital markets, Junior. This is very good. Because when we talk about incubators, what are they? I want to hear some of you say something about this question I posed. What is equitable development in your view? Because one of the things that we talk about is equitable development. That's promoted by MSMEs. Good question for exam. Equitable, discuss. One of the roles of MSMEs in Kenya is to promote equitable development. What is in your view? What do we mean by equitable development in your view? Thank you, Jacqueline Amoke. Equitable development is what? Is an approach for meeting what? Meeting the needs of underserved communities through policies, programs that reduce disparities while fostering places that are healthy and vibrant. It's increasingly considered an effective placed action for creating strong and livable communities. Okay, thank you, Jacqueline. That's a standard one. Yes, let's get Regina. It means the needs of underserved communities. Emmanuel, thank you for those. Thank you, Regina. It's a distributed development around the country, allowing all sectors to grow. E.g., Mamambogas have found like all parts of the country, they promote development. Okay, Manuel Ngetich. Yes, all these answers are good. I want to hear more from others. Yeah, equitable development. When we talk about areas that are underdeveloped, and this takes us back to the sharing of the what? And you look at this sharing of the revenue distribution. Is a person who is in charge of that. Is a commissioner in charge, Commissioner General Revenue Distribution in this country. And you see senators are struggling in terms of saying, now the constitution allowed this revenue distribution to be put this way. But the new developments are coming up that we want to have equitable development. so that the money from the taxpayer that is allocated for development is distributed as follows: for equitable development, to ensure that, and the argument is very interesting. I hope you are reading papers, you guys, and seeing what's happening. Not the fighting of a political part of it, but look at some of the arguments coming out of our parliament and Senate. Senate is in charge of course, the developed governments and so on. And when it comes to discussing about the budget allocation, each senator is fighting for their county and so on. But look at what they're saying. They said the revenue distribution in this country has been lopsided. It's not based on population. The constitution talks of population, but this one was based on the geographical area and other factors. So the question is that the areas that are more developed should be getting less than those that are not developed, and so on and so forth. Arguments are very interesting, and some of them hinge on somebody says, look, I want my community to develop. We have been left behind. Anyway, that's politics for the day. But the thing is, when you talk of equitable development, really, all of you, as you've indicated here, most of those who have stated here, really, you have some. It's true. Equitable development is based on you look at across the board. Mabikingi, thank you. Your answer, Harry Hashon. Yes, thank you for your responses. I hope members can read these responses. Equitable Golden Hashon development is based on intergenerated intergenerational equity development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future. Yeah, SMEs are more labor intensive, tend to lead to more equitable distribution of income. Yeah, okay, that's good. Poverty, yeah, eradication, mercy is a process by which growth is what? Growth is stimulated in developing areas, for example, by allocating youth funds and so on. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, government came in to intervene about financing. Why would the government be involved in setting funds like youth fund? It's because of that equitable development. They want to ensure that all parts of this country, all counties, if you may say, all counties get resources that will help them meet the minimum development goals. Infrastructure, the schools, the health. You are looking at distributing this, and also incomes, because if there are counties that are very poor because people don't have incomes, there are no industries there, you find that you need to help them to do so. MSMEs play a key role in this, and if the government could only emphasize, I mentioned it in Vision 2030, that emphasis is put on the development of MSMEs. And so this is what it is. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Going Kazi kwa Vijana. Yes, Kazi kwa Vijana is interesting. I'm sure some of you are involved in Kazi kwa Vijana already. Money is there. I think you earn per day. And this money is getting down to the village. When you look at people earning incomes in the village, what happens? They develop the village. Money will spend the village, they'll buy goods there, shopkeepers, farmers who are there, and so they will be able to have income coming to them, and so on. So that's what it means in brief. There are many things we can talk about that. Government provide development funds, develop funds, equitable funds, all those things for equitable development. MSMEs as a private sector approach, individuals, this initiative of the individual plays this role, because when people used to travel, if I tell you a short story here, we used to travel to all the way from my village or my town where I used to work, a village actually, it's village school, all the way to buy things in a shop about 10 kilometers away, because there were no shops. Transport was also poor. So you'd only go once a day. The vehicles weren't available in the morning. And once you miss that one up to the following day, or you foot 10 kilometers, people went that way anyway. So now, the products are right at the doorstep. Go back to that community, started working. The doorstep, there are shops there. You can buy anything, literally anything from the business around there, because the infrastructure is good. The roads are good there. Communication is very good, and so on. So you can actually literally now, the development has come to the village. And this, when you look at duplication of this in all the villages in Kenya, then you talk of development that is reaching everyone. That's how we could look at that. That MSMEs play that role. Of course, government leading, providing all that's needed, infrastructure, policy, and so on. But the private sector plays a key role in terms of individual initiative. Going to 90%, these are roles: employment creation, invention, innovation, GDP growth, fulfillment vision, foreign direct exports. Now, I want to pose a question here. What are the roles? Other roles do you think? Yeah, nothing. Do you think MS, the micro, small, and medium MSE sector should play? What other roles? Either should be playing or are they playing? What other roles do you think the MSMEs sector should be playing? What other roles? We've said here the roles are employment creation. Yeah, this has been said many times that when you look at who are the big creators of jobs today, even if you go to the Kenya National Bureau of Standards reports of last year, you find that MSMEs play that role. Largest number of jobs came from the micro, small enterprises. Invention and innovation. Yes, a lot of innovations are there that we see today. Quite a number of them. Some of them have not been patented, but are there. The GCOs, although somebody patented that, and many, many others that are there. If you go out there with the lenses of an investigator to find out what innovations and inventions are available, which your university is doing through the Innovation Center they're setting up, to go and search what are these indigenous Kenyan inventions and innovations that have not been able to reach the level they should be. They have not been commercialized and they have the potential for commercialization and making life easier for Kenyans and others. What are they? GDP, we talk about it. Fulmino Vision very other, yes, meeting about making Kenya the medium income country by 2030. Foreign direct investment, yes, exports and so on. So, what other roles? Improvement of standards and living creation by employment, yeah? Improvement of standards. By people getting jobs, their standards are improved a little bit. They're better. Improved standard means what? Affording three meals a day, maybe? Having a medium-sized housing and health and so on, yeah? Improvement of standard of living, creation of employment globally, yes, Corazon, Tyson, thank you. For the employment globally, providing revenue to government, yes, GDP. When I talk of GDP, really, wealth, when you talk of wealth creation, Kimani, thank you very much, Kimani, but what do you mean exactly, wealth creation? Maybe you can say a little more. Reducing monopoly, yes, ensuring zero poverty, that's right. Zero poverty, reducing it, of course, we can never be zero, but we can reduce poverty levels. Provide affordable goods and services at an affordable price, yes, as competition leads to that. When you sell your products at a high price, what about the Taroka? They will move away from you. They'll go and buy from somebody else whose prices are reasonable. Improving standards of living, participating in community development by contributing, yes, Harambes, things like those. Crackdown on substandard products. They are cracked now. Okay, substandard products, maybe that may not be direct, but something closer. As soon, maybe you want to say something more harsh. What do you mean by crackdown on substandard products? Does MSME sector does that? Or is that a regulated agency answer? Yeah, maybe you want to say something. Belinda, promote more equitable distribution. Yes, mentioned that access to basic infrastructure. Yeah, it brings that in. Yeah, creating rules and regulations, well, policies and so on. This government does that. Yeah, so this has moved the government to do that, and many other, we can say, many other roles they play, earning of revenue, the government, right, and so on. Very good. Thank you for those responses. Because when we look at Vision 2030, really is very, very interesting. Vision 2030. Yeah. Vision 2030 is there, and many other. The role played by MSMEs is unlimited. I may use that term. It's unlimited. They're traveling back to Nairobi and back to Eldoret. And I saw Nakuru County. Its caption is County of Unlimited Opportunities. That caught my eye. When you travel also, don't just sit there when you see things, although it's encouraging not to travel, but it was necessary from travel, then I went back. But the thing is, when you saw that, I saw that caption, it says, County of Unlimited Opportunities. What did it mean? It means you can literally develop anything in the county, from farming. Look at Nakuru County, by the way. Nakuru County is in the center of Kenya. Somebody was saying they should move the capital city from Nairobi. Government city should move to Nakuru. That's what they said. I'm not promoting that, but that's what they say. So it's a county of unlimited opportunity. What do they mean exactly? I was just thinking about that. They meant that any entrepreneur who has a good business idea converted to an opportunity can literally set office in Nakuru, can actually be domiciled in Nakuru, because you have a lot of opportunities there. from agriculture to manufacturing to even the artists and so on and so forth. So when you talk of the role of MSMEs, it's unlimited. I want to use that term. It's unlimited. SMEs, success, and so on, attract capital from investors, lift manufacturing to another level. Really, it touches development. I like that Josephine Matundura said what? Entrepreneurship and investing in women entrepreneurs. Now, it gives opportunities. I want to say that gender. The problem we have had here is gender. And your constitution, if you remember, it was chapter 1, I don't remember exactly, but talks about gender rule of 30% of any employment should be given to one gender that's minority, rather than dominating. 70% can be taken by the bigger population, or bigger the males, and 30% be females, or 70% females and 30% men. So it's there, it's constitutional. Now, what do we mean? For MSMEs, it actually equalizes. Although there are issues in terms of financing by banks and so on at one stage, where banks used to discriminate against women entrepreneurs, but now I think that those clauses were removed. So now anybody can run as much as it can. So MSME sector plays a key role in terms of equalizing opportunities for everybody. Yeah, lift manufacturing. Yes, Josephine Matundura says something there. Entrepreneurs invest in women. A question kindly. Yes, Mwasi. Yes, Mwasi, you have a question, and you ask your question. Yes, Mwasi, ask your question. I see you have a question kindly. Yes, go ahead. We bring it to the plenary. What are the reasons why small enterprise provide more opportunities than large enterprise globally? Good question. I want to pose this to everybody, members. That's a good one, yeah? Why are reasons why small enterprise provide more opportunities? Hassan has already there. So I think when MSME supports the business, is the country leading to invention and innovation will lead to production of high quality products, hence cap the issue of substandard. Thank you, Hassan. What you have actually expounded on your answer, on your answer earlier about curbing these substandard goods because of invention, innovation, many when products are there, people want to buy quality things, and that will happen in terms of substandard goods finding no way. Okay, let's get Mercy's question. Mercy's question: what are the reasons why small enterprises provide more opportunities? Why is that so? This is the heart of the question. Why do small enterprises provide more opportunities? Reasons why small enterprises more opportunities. Why? Yeah, can we get some answers? Let's respond. Yeah, Sarah Kinamas is the first one. Yes, this is because they are allocated everywhere and they are operated formally. They also formal and informal. Yes, they require less skills compared to large enterprises. Yes, it's very good. Yeah, there are a few no stringent regulations or bottlenecks to start. Yeah, we look at the micros. Yeah, opportunities are plenty. Yeah, opportunities are plenty. In terms of there are many. There are a few no stringent regulations. It's basically when you look at the formal and informality. We talked about informal. There are many informal enterprises. But there are also the small enterprises that are formal, but there are more opportunities. The answer here that is at the bottom of that, of course, that there's no one answer, is that widely spread, that's a good one. Tyson, that's a good one. They are widely spread. Large corporations only operate in smaller towns. I mean, in few towns. They might be in Nairobi, headquarters, may not have anything else, branch anywhere. But small enterprises are across the board. Go to Mpeketoni, like Mpeketoni. Go to Royangalani, go to Turkana, somewhere in Lodwar, or go down somewhere in a small place called Mundika in Busia, or go somewhere in a place called where in Tanzania, in the border between Kenya and Tanzania. Anywhere, you get small enterprises. But large enterprises, they're only found in Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, and big towns, and there are few. So that's why it is globally. Everywhere, even globally, when you go globally also, the big corporations are only located in small places and they don't expand faster and they are not flexible. I like Sarah, they are flexible, adapt to changes easily, so they don't go under. So even now in this COVID-19, you'll find that many businesses will survive are the micro and small businesses. They are flexible. They can shift from one to another. But the large corporations have invested in equipment and machinery. They are stuck. They have either to change the product line or close shop. That's what it means. Okay, we can go on. Thank you very much for those answers. They require same skill. Yeah, over skills also. I almost forgot that about skills. You know, large corporations require skilled people, qualified accountants, qualified charities, especially, and so. But small enterprises, it's more or less jack of all trades, easily absorbed and understood. They are quicker to respond to new opportunities. Right, exactly. What do you think yourself? Let's ask Mercy. Not Mercy. Let's ask the person who asked the question. What are the reasons? Yes, Mercy Ongoba. Can you give us your thinking? You know, when you ask a question, we normally say you already have the answer. What was your expectation, Mercy? Can we hear from you? Mercy, can we hear from you? Hello, Mercy. Can we get your answer? Yes, can we get your answer? Let's hear from you, Mercy.
Okay. I think that they offer more opportunities because
yes, go on, Mercy.
They provide human labor, unlike the large enterprises where the machines are being used to do daily works.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody else. I can see somebody else there. Yes. Hello. Somebody else? Yes, who? Hassan? Yes, Hassan Odhiambo? Don't mute, please. Yeah, unmute. Yes, Hassan. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you for that question, thought-provoking question, Mercy. Now, I want us to move on to the next slide. Interesting enough. Let's go to the next one and see. We talked about generally what the role of MSMEs are. Very crucial. And when we cover issues and trends, you can also talk about issues and trends in employment. What are the issues in employment? For example, employees by MSMEs. What are the issues there? Yeah, right? Yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Karibu. Small enterprises. Tiongo has something. Small enterprises tend to be more easier to open as well as expand. Jacqueline Amoke, quicker respond to new opportunities. SMEs, but the provision of equity financing to start companies more advanced. These use information technology and so on. So you say small enterprises are flexible. They need less skills. They can use multi-skills, if I may use that term, multi-skills. You know, the manager can be a marketer, can also be a marketer, can be a finance person. Finance, of course, might be a specialist, but they can do many things. They are administrator, marketer, all those supervise. They do a lot of role things, multi-skill. That's why. Now, I want to talk about this employment creation as a way of issues. What are the issues of employment creation for MSMEs? Maybe that's a question. What are the issues? Yeah. State some issues involving employment. Sorry. Explain some of the pertinent issues regarding employment generation by MSMEs, and specifically micro. Yeah. Explain some of the pertinent issues regarding employment generation by MSMEs. Can we get some responses there? When we talk of issues, we talk about things that touch on challenges. You can call them challenges. You can call them facts. You can call them the gray area. What is the gray area in employment by MSMEs? Okay. Excellent, Mercy. Discrimination and sexual harassment. That's very true. That in the private sector, especially the micro small enterprises, you'll see this happening because the owner decides who to hire. I see this in restaurants. I see in some restaurants, this is very common. Low income generation. When we look at discrimination, Mercy's point there, this is very interesting in that when you see some of those micro enterprises before the COVID-19, now they're closed. They change employees so often. You ask yourself, why do they change employees? Today, there is this waiter. Tomorrow, there are other new waiters. You ask them, how long have you been here? Some say, oh, I came last month. Oh, I came yesterday, last week. You wonder, why is that so? So the question of discrimination, sexual harassment is also there. Sorry to say this, but Mercy, as you said, harassment is there. Very, very common. The girls are harassed, but they have nowhere to go for, or they fear to report because they are looking for that job. They are looking for that job, you are harassed, and you just have to stay to work or quit and continue suffering. This has happened especially in the micro and small enterprise. Of course, not widespread, but it's there. Those are some of the challenges. Low income generation, yes, even salaries. Income generation is skilled workers, so they can't employ skilled workers. If they employ a skilled worker like a graduate like yourself, they will underpay you. They will say, we pay you only 7,000 when you are supposed to be earning at least 35. You see that? And availability of adequate and timely credit facility, high cost of credit, lack of modern technology, all this. But we're talking about what? Employment creation. Maybe Jacqueline, they reach there when you talk about insufficient training, skills. Yes, I'll take that. Employment is more possible through development of family. Yeah, but when you look at the challenge here, when you zero in on this, some of the issues invention. You talk about what? Corruption, secure employment. That's right. Onyoni Mose, yeah. Corruption is the low wages. When you talk of employment creation, salaries and wages and allowances are less compared to the public sector, right? And it's decided by an individual. You have no recourse to go and get to what? Challenge this. So you are forced to accept because you want to job. The job is necessary, out of necessity. Salaries and wages and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things. Salaries and wages, allowances are less, lack of guidelines. Yeah, some of them don't have the HR policies. And when you talk about each of these, when you talk of issues, each of these roles, as the SME plays them, they have what? They have challenges and they have issues. So MSMEs mostly do not offer favorable employment times in terms of wages and so on. These alone you can discuss this for the rest of the class. But the thing is, we need to note and appreciate that there are challenges, there are issues that are there in this. I want to move the next one. Thank you very much. Gossip and bullying. You have really been in the field. Eh? Yeah, there's a lot of that, bullying and so on. You don't belong here, you belong where, and so on. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go along, the role of SMEs, we talked about employment generation. And when we talk of employment generation, we look at our MSMEs employ about 40.9 million people in Kenya. Over 90% of the workforce exists in industries and so on. Innovation, create opportunity for entrepreneurs to build creative, growth, GDP growth. Yes, GDP growth is there. Yeah, right. Employment creation, innovation, GDP growth. They are there. These are things that we talked about earlier about MSCs. When they generate employment, there are challenges there. Working environment, tribalism, onyoni, yes, is there. Nepotism is there. You find that a company set up by someone from, let's say, a county will only hire people from their county. And not only the whole county, they'll hire people from their own village. Not only their village, but they'll hire relatives. Those are things that are common among the MSMEs because the regulations there are not followed very strictly where you have to talk about percentages of whatever. But public sector, we see that's where. Innovation, yes, opportunities for innovation. There are also challenges there and issues there about innovation. When you talk of innovation, what are the challenges? What are the issues? Copying, patenting. Although now you can patent for free as a student, there is a program whereby students with their innovations can be assisted to have what we call intellectual property, protecting your innovation for almost free. They assist you to that. And so there's in the innovation center, you visit the innovation center, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks time when we work on this, and you have an innovation you want to to protect, yeah, will guide you how to do it. So innovation here, the ideas that come in, Cocoa is very interesting. That somebody steals it, especially the people from the developed countries. They come and scout for ideas and business opportunities, and they run very quickly and patent them in their countries. This is what happens. Kitenge, they did that. The GICO, they did that, and so on. Growth of GDP, when they talk of growth of GDP as a role, it has also its issues. They contribute to national economy more than half GDP. That's that for growth, innovation, all this. When you talk of growth of GDP, the measurement of GDP is gross domestic product. You look at the total product, the country, and divide equally. But you see there is an equal distribution in the economy. There are areas that are not endowed as well as others. Those near, of course, the city of Nairobi have more opportunities than those ones who are far off and outlying areas. Now you talk of a place like Endebess in Trans Nzoia, way out of Nairobi area. You look at constituencies like that one. I just picked that one. Or Lysamis, constituencies like Lysamis in somewhere in Marsabit. The opportunities there. When you look at the people living in Lysamis, and you are saying the GDP in Kenya is 3,000. I mean, GDP per capita is 30,000 shillings or per year. You are measuring the total production divided by the population and saying this is what it is. It averages, yes, but the people in those outlying counties, which are many of them, are not really. The issues are there. How do you ensure that it's equitable distribution in terms of the GDP, further growth, and so on? Yep. Let's move on. The other role of MSMEs, of course, we talked about Vision 2030, that this vision looks at manufacturing as a pillar, improve productivity and innovation. This is what the vision was looking at. And I had invited you to visit and see Vision 2030. I'd like you to visit Vision 2030. If you visit Vision 2030, of course, the doc is a government document, public. Just even you go to government and do Vision 2030, you get a lot of stuff. Look at it in terms of how it affects the MSMEs in Kenya. What is in it for micro, small, and medium enterprise in Kenya? Investment opportunities, yes, MSMEs play a role in terms of the gifts, both local and foreign. Investment. There used to be a government policy where they said any company setting up in Kenya must have Kenyan partnership, local partnership. I think it's still there today, although local partnership is just cosmetic. What they do is they really take all the profits and so on, the investment in Kenya, because they say we are bringing all our capital here. What are you making? You just get a minimum percentage. So investment opportunities in Kenya, there are challenges, there are issues there about the local participation and involvement in terms of how far are local Kenyans, indigenous Kenyans involved in some of this. Good example here is the tourism industry. Tourism industry, there are companies that are like Italian, German companies, there are Chinese companies that have now come on the scene. And what do? These are companies that are coming to true operation in Kenya. And therefore, they link up their Chinese tourists to their own companies, even hotels in Kenya. So when you look at that again, there are issues there. Opportunities are there. Tourism industry. These guys come in and bring their own companies. Hotels owned by majority by them. Companies in their own countries. And so on. So really, even the hotels they go to, when those tenders comes, and so on. So you realize that there are issues there in terms of within those opportunities, there are issues in foreign investors. Local, of course, local participation is, again, the orientation of the Kenyans. There are lots of good innovators in this country, but bringing them up to the level of understanding the nitty-gritty of starting your own invention or innovation and patenting it. First of all, protecting under the intellectual property, then patenting it. There's a journey that there has been in the past lack of information, but it's available now. Whether it's available to all Kenyans and wherever they are, it's another matter. Is Kenyans seeking information? The challenge we have as Kenyans is that we don't seek information. Even you students, when I ask you simple questions, you tell me we don't know. Like Kenyan, if we talk about Kenyan policy for the youth development, you don't have to go to class to study about that. But we point out to you that what is it that the government has for you? If I ask that question, It's only a few of you might answer. What is it the government is doing for the youth, for the graduates like yourselves? I'll ask Onyoni Mose. Onyoni Mose, can you answer that? Onyoni, what policy, what's the government today in terms of the youth for investment opportunities or for employment? Onyoni? Onyoni, are we there, Onyoni? Yes?
Yes, sir.
If I ask that question, let me reframe it. Do you know the government policy on development of the youth in this country?
I don't know any.
Yeah, you don't know any, but you can search, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, that's why I
Somehow.
said, yes, thank you very much. And you are very honest. You're very good. Thank you. Now, I'm sure the majority of students would think the same way. There's somebody who, BPSM 027654. Yes.
I would say
Yes.
creation of a room for industrial attachment
Yes.
forces a lot of students for
Yes.
work exposure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And who is that? Please tell me your name.
Jacqueline.
Oh, Jacqueline Matundura.
Good morning, sir. Yes.
Jacqueline Matundura, not Jacqueline Matundura. Jacqueline who, please?
I'm okay.
Jacqueline Amaka. Thank you, Jacqueline, because the number you've registered here doesn't register your name, but it gives the number first. And okay, so Jacqueline Amoke, thank you very much. That you see the attachment. Some of you might know about this. After you graduate, you can go for these what they call internships. 3,000 internship opportunities, many opportunities that the government is setting up. So that's one of it, but there are many others. Even the youth fund. Who is supposed to enjoy to get into the youth fund or to get services of the youth fund? Who? So the opportunities there for investment. So SMEs provide opportunity to invest. Yes, you can engage in SMEs, doesn't mean. But you see the inputs in terms of the interventions. The youth, the unfortunate bit of it is that we are not information seekers. That's what it should be for you as graduates. You know, I'm trying to challenge you to be seeking information, even as you are doing this course, that after this course, what can I engage in as a youth? You are over 18, you have an ID, you can vote, and that kind of thing. They talk about it. Now, there are opportunities for you, even as you are in school, for investment to generate income for yourself so that you can even pay your own fees. You don't have to depend on your parents or loans and so on. You know, your colleagues overseas in other developed countries, they would not depend on their parents. Well, even getting loans is very few. A number of them get loans, yes, but they seek opportunities to do something with them. Anyway, that's story for another day. So one of the roles also is export. Yeah, create unique and products that they export through AGOA. Yeah, this is opportunities that are there. Role of MSMEs in Kenya. The opportunities are there. But how many Kenyans take advantage of these opportunities? Export, for example. This EPZ, Export Promotion Council Authority. Has some of you, do you seek to find out information about what does the Export Promotion Authority does? Find information and inform others. So the question is, MSMEs has opportunities. Excuse me. Yeah, and we need to seek this. Gender equality, we mentioned this earlier also. Half of the MSMEs are owned by women, actually more than half. When you look at the mama mbogas and the micro small enterprises, they are run by micro enterprises, especially. The majority are women, up to 60%. A study we talk about 60% of the micro enterprises are actually women operate, 60 to 75%. So that the other small percent are men. And then when you go to small enterprises, it tends to be a little equal, but men are overtaking them. But at medium level, there are more men than women. There's a study in that area. It's something you might be interested to find out about. Gender in MSME sector, how it plays out. So again, MSMEs give opportunities to the minorities, give opportunities to those who have been left out, like the people with disabilities. They have opportunity here. It's how you run. You use your ideas, you use your opportunities, and go on. And there is also funding. By the way, there are specific designated funds or programs that support the people with disabilities, support women. There's a Women Enterprise Fund, support the Youth Enterprise Fund, all that through what? MSME. There's MSME sector. 85% of these are informal. Okay, this is what we had said earlier. that you see in formal business are those that don't need to be registered, to have a registration name and have a location. You can be flexible. Today you are operating in Kariobangi. Tomorrow with your van or whatever you are operating in Kibera. The other day, another time you are operating, let's say in Kasarani. You don't have to own another part of the country. So it has the informality means you are so flexible that you can operate anywhere. You only need a daily daily license, whatever jurisdiction you are in. You may pay daily with 20 shillings, 30 shillings with that, and you are busy, you're in business, and so on. Informality. 85% of those are the ones who want to move to be formal. When we move them to be formal, it means they become small enterprises or micro that are registered. Upper level micro, which are registered, they have a business name, they have a location, then they employ more people and they can work and move. Then, of course, here women manage more than 40% of smallholder farms. Okay, you're talking about farms here. Farms is FIRM actually, not Mashamba, but companies here. So, again, gender equality. The role of SME has played is bring in, highlight the gender equality, not only gender, even people who have actually had less opportunities. Less opportunities that men tend to run faster. In the past, they used to dominate all the sectors, even the financial sector. Even when giving loans, they used to discriminate. By the way, if I may just mention something here a little bit, some of you might not know, that before the liberalization government policies on gender issues, banks used not to give loans to women. As late as the early 80s, I think, early 80s, it can be corrected here, any woman who wanted to go and borrow money from the bank, unless if they're employees, they could get directly from there. But if they were to borrow money for development or business, what they needed to do was, there's a section in the documentation which requires either, if there are spinsters, their father has to sign a guarantee that this is my daughter and can get a loan, and a guarantee. Or if they were married, then the spouse has to sign, guarantee that I'm so-and-so, the husband of so-and-so, and I guarantee for her to get that money. Look at that. Very discriminatory, isn't it? Today, I think that has gone. Although in some quarters, I'm told very high level loans and so on, you find that you have to have a guarantor, but not necessarily a gender issue. But the question is, this has liberalized that. MSC sector, the authority, MSC authority, and others, the government policies have gone into ensuring that gender equality is practiced. Well, not the letter, but it's practiced. Even in the boardrooms, ensure that you have seen this happening now in the smaller businesses that have grown and medium enterprises, the board level, where they talk about non-executive directors. You see females are there. They normally want to say 30% for gender come in here. The next one we are coming to is, you talk about MSc development. When you talk of MSc development, what do you mean exactly? MSc is a key pillar of growth. That's what we said. The MSc sector, growth of an economy, including the American economy, by the way. When you look at the American economy, you just search. The small enterprises, they call them small enterprises. They don't have this classification we have in Kenya, where we talk about micro, small, and medium. They talk about small enterprise. And this is what you get even the European literature and so on. They talk about micro enterprise. And the small enterprise, right? Small enterprises are, for your information, could be large in Kenya. Their definition is slightly different, goes by capital invested. Small, they begin with small and then medium and large enterprises. Now they go by number of the turnover and so on. And so what we're saying is they play a key role in their economies in terms of development. Many of those started as small. The larger companies we see today started small. And you search any of those big companies, America, tell you at least 50% started small. They didn't start by public offering and so on. For long-term development of the economy, yes, this sector has to grow. And that's why the Kenyan government saw it fit to set up the MSC authority, micro, small, medium enterprise authority, which does, we discussed it, I think, in one of the classes, one of the sessions, plays a key role in regulating this sector. China began with agriculture and rural industrialization. Now, when you look at the Chinese development here, Chinese development started in agriculture, basically rural. When you look at the China of 70s and 80s was different from China of today. It has transformed. It's now a giant manufacturing. At least 70% of trade, world trade, comes from China. It means anything you're buying, manufactured. I tell you, 7 out of 10 of them come from China. Chinese, including the laptops we are using, the handset you have a phone, the one you have, it could be Techno, it could be whatever, name it. They're actually manufactured in China. They say we use German technology to manufacture in China, or American or British technology to manufacture. So you see, Chinese are really playing a key role. And that is what? It used to be small. These were small farms. Now it's the big companies owned by the government, of course. Key player was the government, in this case, Chinese case. Even today, the key player really for development of MSME sector is the government. When you look at the development, it's the government plays a key role. Regulations, policies, and the input, directly financing, and so on. What we used to have sometimes back, we used to have a loan which was given by the district trade officers those days. Look back at the district level. There used to be district trade officer loan. It was maximum 50,000 shillings to support small enterprises. Today, I think it has changed a little bit. It used to be a small fund for small businesses, 50,000 shillings maximum. You apply through the district trade office, they assess your business for expansion, they give you the money. And that money was a lot of money at the time. So government played a key role. And they are district trade officers who used to go around and look at what's happening. Today, in the county government, we have a similar outfit, but not exactly. It's changed a little bit. Those trade, county trade, and whatever officers who are supposed to develop the county, the trade, the counties. Even I pose a question here. Yes, thank you, Mercy. The funds are allocated, but especially the youth and so on. The others in the yeah. What is the role of the county governments in developing the MSME sector? I want to ask that question because we have looked at central government all the time. Can we zero in on the county government? What is the role of the county governments in developing the MSE sector? I want to pose that question because we're talking about stakeholders, MSE is the government, and I'm looking at the key players, the government. Can we zero in? Can we hear from you? Yeah. Thank you, Jaika. Victor, licensing of my MSEs. Yes, they're very busy collecting money, isn't it? Collecting money, but they provide services. Providing loans to entrepreneurs. Yes. Under what scheme? Maybe, Mercy, you want to go further and say, what scheme do they have? Do you know of any? Can you be more specific, Mercy? Yeah. What kind of scheme do they have from the county maybe you are familiar with? Maybe you can give us a little more insight. The county you are in. Yeah. Nelly, facilitate them with the funds for development. Yes, Nelly, I also ask you the same question. What are they exactly? Building stalls for the use by SMEs. Exactly. Jaika. Yes, I saw this in Nakuru and many other counties that are progressive. The others that are just, I don't know, yeah? But they build those stores to raise income, of course. Oluwaj making the process of acquiring licenses easier and cheaper. Yes, Oluwaj Anyango, you can say further. Is it by what? Is it by application and whatever? Yeah, Emmanuel constructing conducive working environment. Yes, for SMEs. They're trying the markets, generating business permits. Building the permits, yeah, okay. Through youth fund, yeah, CDF. CDF, does it give you money? Does CDF give you money? Oh no, CDF for development, okay. Providing conduct conducive regular environment, yes. Provide tax holiday like the tough times of pandemic. Mayan issuing of county tenders. Exactly. Mayan, you said something. Tenders to the youth. You know, they talk about government policy, 30% should be youth, women, and disabled. I don't know why they brought women as well as developed. But they said youth, women, and because they are the actual minority. Okay. County tenders, regulating MSMEs to ensure there is health, competition, and among micro business. Yes. Looking for investors. Exactly. Ginger, thank you. They look for investors to come and work with locals to invest. Offers training and empowerment. Youth, Machakos County is doing that. Sarah Kinama, yeah, empowering the youth, training, capacity building. Yeah, for example, in Nyamira County, yeah, They offers funds for agricultural schemes leading to growth and development in the agriculture sector. Yeah. Ngio impact the roots, Nyamira. Yeah. Others, Brian Omondi, yes, construction roads for easy access to where the MSMEs are located. Yeah. Interesting. Yes. The roads, the infrastructure, them lighting the markets. Yeah. These are some of the things that one of you might want to say that, yeah, they do the infrastructure. They do the licensing. They do the training, they do the funding. They also do the funding, although not directly, through some schemes and whatever. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for keeping those comments coming, supporting and sponsoring. What is your evaluation? I want you to evaluate these services. Evaluate these services. Are you satisfied? Are they effective? Not you, eh? Are they effective? What would be your recommendation to them? Recommendation. Yep. They offer these things, good. But the question is, are they effective? What would you recommend to them to improve these services if they are not effective? Let's hear from you. Anybody can grab the mic and please say something, yeah? What are this government? We talked about because that's where the funds are now. Youth fund is still national, yeah, ICT and through ICT and so on. But how about the county level? Because we are talking of two-tier government level. What about the county level? Evaluate those services. How are they? Evaluation means judgmental. Are they doing what they're expected to do? What would be your recommendation to them? Evaluate the services. Are they effective? What would be your recommendation to them? Yeah? They are not effective. Hassan Odhiambo. Thank you. What do you mean exactly? Can you say a little further? Mwasi has recommended the government to offer more tenders to youth and also allocate funds to create jobs and so on. Yeah. But are they effective? You need to look at this. Odhiambo says they are not effective. Mwasi Ongoba, how would you want them to be effective? Or Odhiambo, or whoever else? Can we think about that? How would you want them to be effective? Or what would make them more effective? Yeah? What would make this service more effective if we think about them? Jacqueline says they're okay. Jacqueline says okay, the services are okay, they are effective, though its beneficiaries what? Is there keens? There should be regulations put in place to monitor location. Yes, they are keens. Interesting. Jacqueline has said something very interesting. That what do? They benefit the keens of who? The governors, the CECs, these fellows councillors, MCAs, or they themselves, their keens and their spouses, unfortunately. Yeah, what should be done? You have said what? Omoke says they should be regulated. Who should monitor this, Omoke? What do you think? Who should monitor this? Yeah? I would say that they are effective. Corruption has denied the SMEs the chance to grow. Yes, we are still touching the same thing because that's corruption, Senior. That's right. Well, allowing inconsistent government funding and also is made ineffective, right? They are effective, but they also need local resource leader, a resource leader in each constituency. Okay, that's what the recommendation. I wish you write this to the governor. Write to them and tell them, look, this funding is good, but it can help us. Not really effective, but they can follow up, investigate to see if the funds are used well, invested viable projects. Mercy on Goba, ensuring corrupt officials are put behind bars. That's making, yeah, you throw them in, but they get bail and they are still very busy doing what they are doing. Yes, the services are effective, like those, the one building business stalls, I would recommend for the government to lower the rent. Oh, good. Yeah, there are areas that are working, yes, it looks okay, but not all. Region and Duku, they are effective, but not equally distributed. Yes, again, we talk about corruption here. Whoever talks louder, if it's an MCA or in the closer books of the governor, he gets the funding. Unfortunately for a developing country with this problem, nationally, even the job distribution, they go to those ones who are closer where and so on. But what we're saying here is that rational system should be there in such a way that equitable distribution. What about equitable distribution? I think whoever is in power, in a way, must ensure, even the counties, if I'm developing this county infrastructure, I am elected or appointed, look across the board. You are, at the end of the day, they will judge in terms of you are the trade officer, you are the infrastructure person. What did you do in the county? Not your sub-county or your local. Who are the people getting the companies, by the way? Not company, but the tenders. Yes, services are effective, like one of the buildings. Yes, they are effective, but not equally distributed correctly. Force an investment in physical facility, collection of refuge, and so on. Wambui, Kamau, collection of refuge is also something else. Very interesting because of cleanliness, environment. They are not effective because most of them are what? Most of them are corrupt and so on. Right? Who will curb this? You see what's happening in Kirinyaga. Of course, you cannot divorce politics from development. What's happening in Kirinyaga? What's happening in all these other counties, including the one in Homa Bay, the ones down there in Bungoma, all these counties, Nairobi, all these counties have issues. Nakuru, the governor saying, let's meet in court, threatening the MCAs who want to impeach him because of what they see as inequitable distribution. So you see what's happening. By the way, in either today's paper, it must be there in today's paper, I saw over the television yesterday, I was viewing the news, and we are talking of government development funds, that billions are going back to treasury because of capacity. In fact, they listed counties that are worst in terms of underusing the resources. They use only 1 point something billion, 0 to 2 point something billion given for development. I don't have the exact figure, but read today's paper, check, even online, find out. There's something we talked about, distribution of resources and capacity to use those resources for development. Development including MSMEs, loans to MSMEs, capacity to give the loans and monitor and recover these monies. Capacity to use this for infrastructure development. There are counties that are taking back the money to the treasury. These are the questions they were asking. You're asking for more money and you are not able to use what you have. Where is the problem? The problem is capacity. And also, as you see, there are challenges in terms of allocation of those funds. Where did the money go? And you find at the end of the day, they don't pass the bill. So the money goes back. The year ends and the money goes back. Exactly. Okay, Nyamaga, investment in physical facilities. Yes, they are not effective because of them, they corrupt. Right. Let's move to the next one. So we're talking about development, MSC development, that the government plays a key role. But when we zeroed in on the county government, we lifted the veil a little bit, we realized that there are many things that need to be done. Of course, you may say they are kind of, in a way, effective because think of the last dispensation where we didn't have county governments, and think of today. If you are observant, there's more development today at the county level as compared now. There are districts, by the way. These counties, for those of you who are older, maybe have read about this in history. There were 42 districts in Kenya. Colonial time, after when he got independence, 1963, I think there were 62 districts, 62 districts, 42 districts. They were there. And the county governments have mirrored exactly those districts, except they added a few others. So when you look at the development of that time, if I come from my own, I look at a county like Bungoma, where I come from, really, I was born there. Bungoma. When I look at Bungoma before the government of the county government came in, and today there's more development. I want to admit that there's more development, more tarmac road than before. Of course, they could have reached more than that, but they have done development. Infrastructure, roads are there, health centers are there. Of course, they are fraught with a lot of challenges in terms of corruption that we saw earlier and so on. But they are there. There's more, there's development, but more could be done, even to develop the MSME sectors. The stalls, for example, the markets were supposed to be developed. Unfortunately, there was another article the other day where billions of shillings were spent in building markets that have never been opened in many places. One of them, they are showing there are people, their grass has grown in there, nothing happening in there. There's one in a place called Marigat. You go there, Marigat. There was some markets that using taxpayers' money, never. Even Bungoma and other places. Just be observant. There are markets that they used stalls, nice modern stalls, but they have never been opened. There's one in the paper the other day, in the news. They have never opened it. Why? It's a matter of many issues coming up. But the question is infrastructure for MSMEs. Developing the micro businesses, the mama-bogas and the small-scale traders, and people want to invest in that. The small enterprises growing from micro, small, and medium, and so on and so forth. So many of them, examples on there I saw government trying to import doctors from Cuba. Does it mean that Kenyan doctors don't have enough skills? That's a good one, eh? Yeah, example, Mwasi talking about, what did you say earlier, Mwasi? By ensuring corrupt officials are put behind bars and so on. But today, what? Okay, you guys talk about, you know what's happening today is we are, of course, getting doctors because we don't have the capacity. We are overwhelmed. If I may answer that for now. We are overwhelmed by COVID-19. But the other time, we didn't have enough doctors either. You know, when you look at the statistics, yesterday's paper, they're talking about how many doctors we require really by the standards. The Commonwealth standards, International World Health Organization standards, how many doctors we require for the population. Kenyan population is actually way beyond the doctors we have. So we need more doctors. Training them, we are not training them fast enough. And we are also losing some of them when they go out there to greener, as they call it, quote-unquote greener pastures. So we don't have enough doctors, Mazi, to answer you. And that's why the government is actually through some bilateral arrangement with the Cuban government to bring some doctors to come and help. Not only Kenya, many developing countries do this, by the way. So we are actually talking about what? We're talking about development that is international, and you are working with the partners, development partners. Those are development partners. They may be seen negatively by our own local doctors. You know, we are qualified, more qualified than the fellows. But you see, they're not enough. When you look at the Kenyan doctors in your own town, how many are they? Specialists, for example. You queue up to see them. It's unfortunate. Some of them want money to be paid before they do an operation. This is a problem we have, the culture we have developed among our own professionals, unfortunately, especially in the medical field. Since you mentioned this, Okoba, I didn't want to get into that much. But you see, you can see that even the micro enterprise sector is suffering because of many of those ills that we've talked about. Now, move on. Business create jobs. Now, we talk about the government. I've already talked about what we're talking here about the government. That businesses create jobs and pay taxes. Yes. Government offers forms of assistance. Yes. And these are some of the forms of government, of support by the government. Economic processing. I talked about EPZ, Export Processing Zone. The economic development programs talk about export processing zones. Subsidies are given, free land, low interest rates, loans, ease of setting up, license permits. Yes. Those who want to export can apply to the export processing zone program, and once they are found the products are viable, they have a market, they will be given these support services. You visit EPZ, find out the role of EPZ and what it does. You can search the engine, search it, find out. So, government, that's the role of the government. Loan facilities. So, economic processing zones, there are only very few. It's only in Nairobi, I think in Mombasa. We need more of this. That's another challenge. An issue that, are they sufficient? People, let's say, in the place like Nyeri, they want to export whatever fruits or plants they are growing there. They need a local EPZ to have an industrial, call it industrial park or whatever, to support the entrepreneurs around there. They don't have to go to Nairobi. Same thing with other counties. In fact, or regional, because it may be expensive to set up a county. Some counties don't have the capacity. But if you do regional EPZs, this is something that somebody can recommend. That for us to be an exporting country, flowers, fruits, we don't have to ship fruits from Nairobi, from up country to Nairobi to go to export. So you are making juices or whatever. We can have this at regional level as an area. Yes, it's good we have them. We can move further. Then the loan facilities. We talked about this earlier. That loan facilities and tender reservations, this is good for the government. This is helping the youth entrepreneurship. That's why I challenge you guys. That are you thinking about, you see as you were, you think about what can you do to develop this country. You are a student, yes, but you can go further than a student. You are not locked. Your mind is not locked in as, I am thinking as a student, I act as a student until I finish. Entrepreneurship should move you from that thinking. If by the end of our session, this semester, this course, you have not come out of that thinking, then Mwalimu has failed. I would say that. Because you're supposed to be unfrozen in the mind. We are all frozen when we come in. I want to be a student. I want to finish this course. I want to get my degree. I'm doing this course because it's a compulsory course. My limit is teaching me. Teach me quickly to get to skills. I get my grade. I move on. That's good. But then the best thing would be, what do I do with this knowledge to transform my thinking? If we talk about EPZ, for example, find out. You can advise also. You can be a consultant. Yes, who says you can't? You can. There are people there, you know, they are innovative. They are producing products that can be of export grade. Find out and advise them and link them. For a fee, you can start something like that and say, look, I link you to, you have a website, or you not necessarily a website, but you can talk about your own small farm or an independent consultant and shout in the social media. Yes, you can assist, help people to export and link them to the various services available. You can do that. Possible. Or you get the manufacturing yourself. That's another story for another day. How do we get in there? But the thing is, EPZ has a role to play. Loan facilities are there to support you. So really, it's a question of, are these funds available? Are they accessible? Are they available? Are they accessible? Are they able to support my enterprise to grow, expand, and generate more income? Am I able to have the capacity to repay? Those are things that come into your mind of an entrepreneur. So they are there. The Women Enterprise Fund is there. I did a study on that. I think I'll share the findings sometime later, not this class. A Ways of Fund is there. Youth Enterprise Fund is there. Yes, big one also for you guys and others like you who think entrepreneurially. All this reserving of tenders, you find that like the new financial year now has begun, except now for this COVID-19 is creating a lot of other new issues. But there are tenders. Every county is floating tenders, and you can apply and get those tenders. Except for the what somebody says corruption and so on and so forth. They should be open tenders that you apply. If you are a business that's registered, of course there are conditions there. You must be a registered business. That means you must be a formal business, must show your documentation so that they know where you are when they give you funds. You are not just to visual out into society, but they can be able to recover them, and it will also do what you expect it to be done to do, like expanding, growing, and so on. Maybe I can ask a question here. And pause here, yeah. Somebody starts asking, but there are so many graduates out there under the medical sector. Why can't the government provide more employment? Let me pause there first and look at this. Now, for example, the day I saw a government trying to import, yes. So I see here, Mercy is talking about there are many medical doctors, students there. There are many graduates out there under the medical sector. Why can't the government? Let's pause for a minute from looking at EPZ and the Ways of Fund and answer Ngobas. Yes, Mercy. When you look at the medical doctors, what statistics does it show? Then it could be true they're out there. The government may not have the resources to employ them, probably, but it's good to find out. These medical doctors graduate from Moi Teaching Referral Hospital, MTRH, Moi University, those from University of Nairobi Medical School, those from Kenyatta University Medical School, those from Mount Kenya Medical School, and many others, Meru, Nkemu, those are coming out of those. Joost, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, I think, I don't know, they have a medical school because they have also a referral hospital. Yeah, all these universities and private sector, private sector few. These are doctors qualified. Takes 6, 7 years to graduate, to train. Where do they go? The number being trained as doctors are very few. They are not very many because of the infrastructure required to train a medical doctor. When you talk of doctors, we are talking of specialists. We're not talking of general medics. And therefore, not getting into politics of the health sector. What has happened in the past is that all the doctors are absorbed, those who come from trained. But there are issues, of course, in terms of pay, terms and conditions. Pay is another one. Because somebody says, I'm a medical doctor, how do you pay me 35,000 in civil service? I don't know what they pay today. But anyway, the issues of terms and conditions, I think, affect someone. Some of them get out of go away out of our country. I met some in Botswana when I was there. Kenyan doctors who were working there. Even the chief medical officer was a Kenyan, those years back in the year 2001. And many of them are out there unfortunately looking for green pastures. The patriotism was missing in some of them. But the question is our values. When you're training people, do we have values in terms of patriotism? You are a specialist, spend taxpayers' money training you to the level where you are. What do? Give back to society. If I tell you my story, I had an opportunity to stay and work in Botswana, good pay and so nice things as an expatriate, but I chose to come back to Kenya. I said, as a PhD holder in entrepreneurship, very few Kenyans that time, think of the year early 2000s, 2001, 2003. No, why would I spend my time in Botswana developing the Botswana people and not Kenyans? Some people thought I was crazy. I went there for only, I think it was to be 2 years. I went there for less than a year, came back. Because I said patriotism is key. Anyway, that's another story. But what we're saying here is that, as you Mwansi, to answer Mwansi, there are many doctors, yes, the government to be asked that question, and also the paramedics, nurses, quite a number of them trained, many of them are trained, but specialists are a few in number. Anyway, let's get back to where we were. Youth Fund, Youth Enterprise Fund. Teachers, I'm satisfied. Mercy and Goba, thanks. Okay. The government is interested maybe in acquired doctors who are special. Yeah, that's right, Sarah. So now, the Youth Enterprise Fund, we talked about it. Reserve of tenders. Does any one of you have an experience with these tenders? I want to ask that. If there's anybody who has experience about the tenders, what are the challenges in going for these tenders? There are reserve tenders in that they said 30% will go to women, youth, women, and people with disability. Are there any challenges in those reserve tenders? If there's anybody who has come across it, please, because there are people who have applied out there, youth like yourselves, who have set up their own businesses to generate income for themselves, but they have entered into a lot of other. There are challenges that are faced in there when we talk of issues in this. Comments maybe in acquiring doctors. Not there. We're talking about any experience with the youth fund, yes, lack of capital to purchase the materials. Yes, Jacqueline said that. Yeah, but you see, the question is the tenders you are given, yeah, you lack maybe they will also waive the fee that is required, normally the bid bond. If you look at the tenders, the bid bond is there. You're supposed to have a bank or you have deposited money there as a guarantee that if you fail, of course, the government, they will not lose the money, but they can get through the bid. Now, the question is, the youth fund is there, but not many people know about it. Again, it's lack of Kenyans looking for information. We're training Kenyans at every level. Youth, let me get back to the youth and graduates like yourselves, to be information seekers. I like Nelly Sinja, the old men pose like youth and pocket all the money. That's interesting. But you see, the youth allow it, isn't it? Anyway, you may not have much control on this due to nepotism adoption. I like that. Yeah, these are ills that we have today. That the challenges for this youth fund and even WAZO and even Women Enterprise Fund and these reserves here, there is a lot of endemic, you may say endemic corruption that is there that affects the issue of this. They are there. We have read. It's there. People cry. People who have gone applied. We have cases. But how do you change that? We need to change it. It's Kenyans, youth. We write about this and so on. Somebody said the men get a pot of youth, the pesa kwa wazee, kazi kwa vijana, and so on. Very interesting things that we read about them. But you see, the government's supposed to, if it's working the rational way, this is supposed to support the MSMEs. These are issues. We're talking of issues here about the implementation of government policies that touch on the youth development, youth programs, government programs, the funding, the funding, the inputs, the intervention the government brings in to support this sector is fraught with what? With a number of challenges and issues that need to be addressed. And this addressed not politics, not politicians, is experts to advise the government. To advise the government, this is how this can work, and this is how to check the balance. There should be checks, checks to ensure that there is no filtering of this money to the wrong, causes and so on. Somebody says, Kazi kwa vijana, say, I mean, sure, true, that's Kenyan government. Yeah, but we need to change even the government when it comes to voting. When you vote, you in the people. Vote in corrupt fellows who will be there. They want to make money out of whatever. But the thing is, these programs are there to support the youth. And we need to follow up. Find out. As a Kenyan, I want to encourage you to go find out, search, seek information, demand answers. They are Kenyan. And there's a government ombudsman. If you didn't know, if they don't answer you, government ombudsman, this is what we are seeking. This is not available. We need information, more transparency in how these funds are done. For example, the youth fund, they should publish the list that they have given these funds per county and even sub-county, so that we know that every county is benefiting out of it. Maybe that's one of the solutions one can suggest, that, you know, these funds are given. They say we have allocated 3 billion. The president the other day allocated 3 billion to support the Kazi kwa vijana. But how is that money used? Can we publish the distribution of these resources and how it affected the common mwananchi, the youth out there? These are some of the things that we need to bring out in terms of ensuring the effectiveness and efficiency of these programs. Research Development Fund, yes, the Research Development Fund, we apply for this NRF. We've got these funds to research. Sometimes institutions do that. This is how the government is assisting. They provide funds for research to improve performance. Infrastructure improvement, this is actually one of the things that we don't go without saying, that really in infrastructure, roads are there, paving ways, making roads, better roads. Though the other day, a friend of mine, all the way somewhere in Elgeyo Marakwet County, they said, well, what they did was, this road was good before, it's good maram on it, all weather maram. But the other day, they brought in bulldozers on one of the roads. They were trying to expand the road, and they dug all the soils along the road, and the place so muddy, and they abandoned the place after that. Question was, why were they doing that? Spoiling the road that they did not continue to finish. The answer was, there's funds that was going back to treasury. The financial year was ending. So they wanted to do some, again, this is what reported, they wanted to show that they have spent the money in terms of the infrastructure for those kind of roads. But they only did that and left it spoiled. For the Wananchi, they were crying and saying, look, Mwalimu, don't come this side if you're traveling. Although we don't travel much, but don't come this side. The roads are bad. Well, the question I'm saying here is that the funds are there for development, but how are they? The capacity to absorb them and transparently use that. So issues. This happens, okay, issues of eating away the motivation of the minority groups, the overwhelming, trying to, yeah, I see your answers. I think publicity can solve the problem, especially nepotism. Yeah, publicity is very good. Publish the names. In fact, there should be a legislation which says publish all the names and the communities within the county where the jobs are. Every community, every sub-county and unit must have a share. If you are giving out distributing jobs for various sectors in the county, this must be published. And somebody should evaluate this. There must be also an independent body to do this. Anyway, it's another story. So infrastructure improvement, this is a government role. Let's move on now. Quickly. Answers are coming. I think publicity can be a problem, especially nepotism, lack of equal distribution funds. Yes, every county should have a board to go through the tenders. They do have those boards, but those boards are corrupted, unfortunately. They are there and so on. Okay, financial institutions. We talk about financial institutions here. Business fail. Financial institutions, this is just a summary of what happens. That financial institutions play a key role. And one of the financial institutions that we need to note here is that the microfinance institutions, MFIs, they are there in terms of supporting the micro, small, and medium enterprises. The SACCOs play a key role, savings and credit organization. We talked about them earlier, we talked about infrastructure businesses. So businesses fail due to undercapitalization. Finance are important to any organization. These are some of the issues that many businesses, because of undercapitalization. You want to expand, you put in only a quarter. You want to grow, you can grow. Finances are important to any organization. Yes, they are. Limited sources for many MSEs, hence financial institutions are critical of development. Yeah, they play a key role. Then, of course, there is offers and secured loans and so on and so forth. I want to move quickly here. There's something else to discuss about this. Yeah, non-government organizations play a key role also. So we talked about financial government, financial institutions, non-government organizations, NGOs play a key role. These ones assist the development areas that the government has not actually gone into in terms of stretching. You know, the government has resources that only spread so far. but they don't go beyond a certain level. So NGOs play that role, especially the areas that were left behind and so on in terms of development. I mean, infrastructure and so on. NGOs play a key role there, active in humanitarian, basically humanitarian social services. This is the predominant social impact. Social entrepreneurs are basically here. Social entrepreneurship, provide loans and grants, MSMEs, basically their grants. Example, the Bill Melinda Gates has awarded so much to SIDAI Africa, a social enterprise operating in the livestock sector, yeah? $4.48 million dollars. SIDAI, you've seen SIDAI all over. They're talking about SIDAI for livestock. I hope the money is used very well, subsidizing the pesticides and chemicals used in the livestock sector. Most enterprises backed by NGOs would find it hard to get financial other institutions, since most of them are focused on social. Yeah, so the whole area of social entrepreneurship is here, because there are areas that you don't get profit directly. You don't measure in terms of money you receive as profit, but you measure in terms of development, the development of the sector, the economy. There are areas that were not neglected aside, but the government priorities and resources were lacking. So NGOs found themselves going to those areas that were arid and semi-arid. In fact, when you go to arid and semi-arid, the NGOs are very active there, because there are areas that require special kind of interventions, which the government cannot reach far in terms of social development. Schools, for example, the churches have built up schools in those areas, dispensaries, hospitals. You get missionary hospitals there, and so on. Whereas government dispensaries are very small, because so this is social enterprise, and it plays a key role for SMEs, because if there is a health center nearby, there's a school nearby, you know, business will grow around there, and they'll be supported by the incomes and by those people. And also healthy people run their businesses, because the hospital is nearby, a mission hospital, they go there, they get treated, their families treated, and they're able to be healthy, enjoy their health, and then be engaged in micro and small enterprises, the enterprise sector. This is what it is. And look at the sector, for example, livestock sector. Very interesting. You come from livestock communities, you'll see that you see SIDAI, the IAEs, AIEs, and many other, artificial insemination, the bulls, and many others, many things that happen there. So they play a key role. So this is an issue here, is that to what extent can they develop those areas? And what other support they require? What are the challenges they face in the development areas? Of course, resources are available, like Bill and Melinda Gates. You know, their resources are maybe a one-off. And then we must have now sustainability of that. How are they sustainable? There's some of the issues and challenges of some of these. If it's a hospital, schools, and so on. Now with this COVID-19, this is a newcomer. How are these schools sustained? They're private, of course. It could be publicly also supported. But, you know, those are challenges. Issues are, is the community, are the citizens, are Kenyans able to pick up and be able to run these things on a sustainable basis? Remember, there used to be one, ActionAid. I'm sure you know ActionAid, the social enterprise organization, international. It started some work in terms of developing in some communities. I know one in Mount Yellow area, but they closed shop. When they closed shop, they expected the community to have developed to the level of being able to carry on those activities in terms of, in fact, they were assisting the poor, assisting them with giving them training and support to be able to pick up and be able to generate income for themselves. And then they had a term limit. They had 5 years there. They added, I think. Then they pulled out to go to other areas that are less developed. You know about World Vision, what it does. Many of these NGOs, they play a key role. But is there viability in some of the projects they do? You go to places, they assist the women groups. They put up a place. There's one along Emali or Tok Road. It's a place there which will support a women group. I think they were supported. They put up some infrastructure. But sustainability, after the NGO pulled out, moved to another area, sustainability is not there. These are things that we need to build as an issue. Capacity, and also capacity, viability, and sustainability of these programs to support the MSMEs. There are challenges there. We see this and so on. Okay. All right. Okay, we just towards the end. Private sector venture capitalists. Yes, we talked about this earlier. Yeah. Mercy, what's the role of financial institutions in Kenya? Oh, Mercy, that is a good question that I would want to reflect back to your colleagues. What is the role of financial institutions? Banks. What's the role of banks? What's the role of non-financial institutions like, Equity is a bank, and there are others. What is the role of these finance and microfinance institutions? KWFT, Kenya Women Finance Trust, they're there, and others. What's their role in terms of MSMEs? That's a question. It's a good question to look at. And you can look at this in terms of providing finances, both financial and non-financial support. Financial in that they give loans. Some of them use group lending methods to be able to join groups, and then you run from there. Because this Malimu here had one. He had started an NGO and a financial NGO one time. We're running funding. And unfortunately, the question was, you trade people, you give them funding, and after you give them funding, the groups fizzle out. And you need to have a proper setup so that you can follow up these groups and so on, group lending methods. Very interesting in MFIs. Provide loans and the deposits, and also training. They also provide capacity. Even this about financial sector capacity training. The main aim is now coming back to private sector, which includes the financial one here. Thank you for those answers. Thank you, Joram Jerenga, Jenga. Thank you, Leah. Thank you for those responses as you respond. But as we look at private sector is big. You've heard of KEPSA. Kenya Private Alliance. Kenya Private Alliance, KEPSA. Look at what KEPSA does. Role of KEPSA. Search KEPSA and find out the role of KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance. What do they do in terms of supporting MSMEs? They come, Kenya Manufacturing Association, offering ideas and so on. What, if I may ask the question, what is the role of KEPSA? To ask that question here, what's the role of KEPSA? In supporting MSMEs. What's the role of KEPSA? KEPSA is Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Chairman is the BIDCO CEO, Bivimal Shah. So you can cite that information. Okay. Josephine Matundura offering ideas by MSMEs on how to venture into. Yes, that's what the financial institutions do. Need to solve the problems of imperfect markets. They are received questions from surplus, deficit, receive funds from surplus, and also to the area of deficit and so on. They are used requests to match buyers and sellers. Very good. Matundura, Josephine, that's good. It's a good answer. Yeah, economics perspective. That really they play the role of matching the supply side and the demand side of the resources. Basically, economics. Then when you come down to the nitty-gritty, they get loans. They give loans. Where does that money come from? They come from the people who have deposited. You and I, you deposit money in your account, savings account. That money does not stay waiting for you. That money is lent to someone else who needs it and pays it back with interest, which the bank takes, and also gives you a little bit of, about that issue, banking and so on. The Mayan, some financial institutions offer trading structures to MSMEs like Equity Bank offers shares. Yeah, they are doing that social. That's actually social factor. Right. When it with CSR, what's the role of KEPSA? I may ask that question. What's the role of KEPSA in supporting MSMEs? That's a question you may want to think about, because you're talking about private sector. What do they do, basically? KEPSA, CAM, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and others. Right. So main aim is to invest returns investment. MSCs owe their success to venture capital. Venture capital is bringing money to invest in your company. You work together, you pay back their money with interest, so on. Right. Venture Capital Kenya, Savannah Fund, and Fanisi. I want you to find out about this. What does our Savannah Fund do and Fanisi Fund do? I want you to look at that. I want you to think about that when we come to the next class. Tell us about Savannah, these funds here, venture capitalists. Yeah? Role of venture capitalists in Kenya. What is the role? Of venture capital in Kenya? What's the role today? The role of this in Kenya today? Kenya capital in Kenya today. Look at that. What's the role of that? Those two questions. KEPSA's primary mission is to ensure you're improvement in the overall business environment in Kenya by working together with the government. Yeah, that's a good answer, Jacqueline. But go further. What do they do for MSEs? And then what's the role of venture capital in Kenya? So venture capitalists bringing their money, you see, they take it back out of that. Like you are starting a business and you need capital. Where do you go to? Banks may not give you for long term and so on. Venture capital has had significant impact on SMEs in developing countries. Private venture capital firms include Kenya Equity Term financing with support existing companies expand rather than start operations. Yeah, basically growth because they look at viability of this business. Okay. Challenges facing MSMEs. Challenges there facing MSMEs in Kenya. We continue here now. What we did here was sorry, I should have gone back to slide number 15. Slide 15 here, as you look at these are some of the organizations, you see examples, venture capital in Kenya, but we move on to the next one is, when we look at this next one here, we look at SMEs are hindered by inadequate capital and limited market access, poor infrastructure. This numbering is not the correct one, should be 1 and 2. This, when you look at the general challenges, you talk of access to markets, inadequate capital, infrastructure, knowledge and skills. This is what I've been talking about, knowledge and skills, awareness, where this information, rapid changes technology. All these are key issues which can be looked at as from the challenges perspective. Inadequate capital. If you want to start a business today as a startup, where do you begin? Of course, you begin with yourself. What savings do you have yourself? That's where you begin. And then you move on. Limited access to markets, yes. If you are producing same products, markets are not available. If you are growing the same onions and whatever, maize, where's the market? Unless it's a marketing system that does this. So again, these are challenges that face entrepreneurs in their sector. If you are manufacturing, you see people, Juakali fellows manufacture the same type of furniture. Of course, now you can see when you go to this informal sector and see the furniture there. Very interesting styles and so on. So they differentiate, as we'll see differentiation. So where's the market? And so on and so forth. Then you look at the poor infrastructure. That's why AGOA comes in, American growth opportunities. That can we export some of our furniture to those countries? Look at what they need. What is it that they require that we can export? So on. Poor infrastructure that's given in places where rains are there, like when you go to agricultural sector, you build the small scale holders suffer because they can't take their produce to market. The roads are impassable, so to say. I talked about Marakwet a few minutes ago, place which is impassable. Yeah, inadequate knowledge and skills. Yeah, this training comes in non-financial. Corruption and unfavorable regulatory environment. Corruption, we have talked about it many times, and here are the issues: lack of adequate manufacturing training, lack of adequate finance, rapid technology change. All these are challenges that face the market with the small enterprises. I'll move quickly there. New laws and regulations that the government comes up with may also affect businesses, like this one of COVID, where you're closing at 9, and the bars who are operating bars, don't recommend them, but you see they're crying, and the hoteliers, we are closing early. All that, those are regulations. But you see, the government is protecting citizens. So new regulations every now and then, even importing products from certain countries and so on. And you saw the other day they destroyed goods worth millions, billions of shillings because they were substandard. These were goods that were in protein, they were substandard, and the government watchful eye kept identify them, and they destroy them. You know, regulations about that. Some people might say they have destroyed my goods, but you see, regulations are there to talk about standard goods that will not harm any citizens. So some of the things that we talk of laws and regulations. There are some, although from the perspective of an entrepreneur, they may look a cake or anti-development, but on the other hand, the Kenya government is protecting citizens and so on. Any government protects citizens anyway. I tell you about something about America. You're taking foodstuffs there, they will inspect first. Remember, friend, we're landing at the Chicago airport, and this fellow had brought a lot of food from India. He's an Indian. A lot of food, different types of foods and so on, and wrapped in different packets and so on. And he was forced to surrender it to the customs and to be destroyed because they said any food and agriculture products should have a license from where they come from. So again, it was protecting its economy. The laws and regulations also very strict and so on. So even in developed economies, just like we do here. So regulation can also affect enterprises if you are importing. Inadequate knowledge and skills, we've talked about that. That's lack of this is a problem. But use of it is another issue because people have been trained, but they don't use the knowledge. So again, the question of transferring what they've learned to what they can do. including what you're studying here at the university. You guys are studying, you're getting knowledge. You may not get other trainings. You may get some trainings out there about entrepreneurship, but what you have here can assist you to start and run. But it depends on you. Can you internalize this information? We'll talk about how to start, where your regulations and so on. These are things that you need to be thinking about as you go along. Corruption is there. Somebody says corruption. We still get answers on venture capital provides capital companies. It's leading growth. Yeah, venture capital supports small companies. Yeah. So we talk about these are challenges that are there facing the sector: regulations, law and knowledge, corruption, and so on. Corruption is an area. It's you and me. You know, it's there. They talk about Kenya's ranked 137 out of 180. You can see that globally. And you look at the global 180 countries and 137 in terms of corruption. That we are the ones. We look at it in terms of, oh, we are not doing well. Okay, we should actually be better than this. We rank that in the ranks. Number one is the best, no corruption, zero corruption. And then when you move down further, the most corrupt one, the number 180. You search again, go to Transparency International report of corruption. Just search, you'll find out, and it'll be shocking. You know, we are down there. That means we are towards the most corrupt country in terms of transactions, licensing, whatever. So how do we come out of that? It's a culture we need to develop among you people who are students. When you get out there, what sort of culture do you take with you? You know, culture of rationality, no corruption, and merit best, and so on. Anyway. The other challenges that we see here is now we look at trends. We look at challenges that are not adequate. Of course, there are many. And we want to move to the next one. So think about other challenges that exist so that you are able to think about them and the issues that are there. But now I'm looking at trends that are interesting. Where are SMEs going? And here we talk of the digital technology, digital trend. Worldwide worldwide retail e-commerce sales reaching US dollars 2.29 trillion. That was 2017. Some 10% of all these retail sales, you know, retail e sales was that much, which is 10% of all retail sales. Which means really 10% of the world is big. And then they are set to hit 4 point that. That means by 2021. By 2021, it will have doubled. It will have gone to 20-25%. That means e-trade using technology, whereby you're buying, like last time I think we mentioned about, you can buy a car or any equipment from overseas and it will deliver to your door through e-trade, e-commerce. Go to the website, search, get, select, communicate, by internet, your mail. They will communicate. They'll show you what type of equipment, if the vehicle you're buying. You can see the vehicle literally. You can see, you can search, you can look at it. And the inspection reports are there, genuine reports. And you can import it. Click of the button. You can say, I've selected. I want to import. You apply. You send the money, which is required. Wiring the money, again, here is very quick. By e-banking. Very easily. You pay the amount. They will tell you in 3 weeks' time, it will be landed in Mombasa, free on board Mombasa. It's there. Make arrangements for your clearance agent. In 3 weeks' time, your vehicle is the same vehicle. You import it. That's what's happening. Not only vehicles, many things. A friend of mine was importing speakers from using Amazon. Speakers were manufactured, I think, in Europe. And he was ordering them speakers for music. And he received them. After a week, they delivered to him. All these things are happening. So e-commerce is big. That's a trend today. Business that don't go this direction have a problem. Going digital is one way of SMEs to level the playing field with the bigger competitors. It's time to stop using Excel to run your business. They're using Excel. That is people who are still using Excel. But you move away from the automation of processes is key today. That's the digital. Of course, it has been accelerated by COVID-19, where there's social distancing, no congregation, no movements. People are encouraged to buy directly from supermarkets. You can either use your WhatsApp, you can use your phone, and then you send money by e-banking. And then, of course, you can send the list by WhatsApp if you want this lowest technology. Or you can use, they have the website, you go in there, you select the goods, you tick boxes, and you send it to them. And they say, prompt, yes, is the amount, you send the money, and they deliver your goods. That's what's happening today, either locally or globally. So that is a trend that has come that we need to embrace, and in all areas, including learning like we're doing e-learning. You are there seated in your house or in your home, wherever you are. I'm here, Mwalimu is already here in his office. He's seated and he's teaching you. This is where we are going. Before this, we are doing face-to-face. I would be in Ruiru. You'll be there, seated in my class. And we'll be discussing openly. Just like we encourage you to discuss now. You know, this is a new mode. So again, e-learning has come in. So trend, technology. Customer experience is another trend. According to a report by Boston Consulting Group, which I want to encourage you to read, BCG, retailers have implemented personalization strategies. See sales. Those who have done this from research, they saw their sales increased by 10%. Personalization in that you are getting individuals buying directly from you. At a rate of 2 to 3 times faster than any other retailers. Yeah, personal services. There are all kinds of ways you can do. In your online store, you can allow suggestions of the products you might like based on their previous purchases. Email marketing can be segmented into user groups. And so all this is talking about personalization. Services, you get your personal services. You need products, you order for them directly and you receive them and they are offered to send you. Even meals. You can order meals directly, they deliver to you. Cooked meals or whatever. Whatever you need can be done directly. Okay. The other one is differentiation of products. Products are differentiated. I mentioned about the furniture people now, manufacturers of sofa sets, and they have differentiated quite a bit. Differentiating ourselves from our competitors and getting the word out through marketing. Differentiate. Why are we different? Why is ZTech University different? It's because it impressed the technology right away. When COVID came in, we did not sit there and say, well, we can't teach, we close shop and so on. No, we went on and said, what's available in the market? What are other institutions, universities doing? They're differentiating. They went into online. Some of them are, of course, doing the online before traditional, but they have enhanced this with the blended learn like we're doing here, where we're doing a lot of discussion and we are going through classes and so on, and even exams and so on. Differentiation, as from competitors, saying that try not differentiate on price. Saying that try not to differentiate price, not to differentiate on the price alone. There's no need to constantly give discounts or specials in your product or services in changing your price. What you do here is talking about pricing. You don't have to differentiate in terms of discounts. You can also set your price and say, look, this is what it is. We're different. We are charging you this. There are shops in Nairobi, some of those shops. There's Little Red. If you have time, visit some of those shops. Little Red. Little Red is a shop when you go there. A jacket like Malim is wearing, not this one wearing, is worth 250,000. A jacket alone. It's not this one, of course, but their jacket like this similar. 250,000. A suit. Pair of shoes for ladies. 150,000. Pair of shoes. You just look at them, they look ordinary. Differentiation, and ask myself, do they have customers? Of course they do, otherwise they would have closed the shop. And then you go those ones on the other side of the city where the shoe is selling for 1,000 bob, jacket is selling for 2,500 or 500 shillings. You get, differentiation, a lot of that. So differentiate your products and say this is my price because of what I'm offering. It's like hotels, 5-star, cup of tea is 250 shillings. Somebody said, Malim, you mean 250 shillings for a cup of tea? A quarter liter, a cup of tea is a quarter liter, 250? Why don't I walk across the restaurant and go to the other one where they charge me 10 bob? Or 20 bob for that cup of tea, then 250, 10 times. What is good about it? Places like Kempinski, and others, the 6-star hotels and so on. Because you look at many other things, they differentiate. They say we are different. When you come here, you come to your serious business. You enjoy the music, soft music there, for example, the ambience, the setup is different from where you are. You can pay 10 bob for a cup of tea. Differentiation. So this is key also in terms of trends today. Business are differentiating. Organizations, institutions are differentiating. Okay. These are days offering great service may be the only thing necessary to make new customers and keep them coming back. Yeah. Offering great service. Like that one of go to a restaurant, a hotel, and you're 250 shillings a cup of tea. It means the service there is different, far more different. Somebody will receive you at the entrance as you come in, welcoming you, feeling at home. Somebody will seat you nicely somewhere. There's a cup of water there, a glass of water. Someone will seat you and say, sir, what can we do for you? And so on. So you find the services are different. They differentiate on that basis. So that will make the difference. Even the shops, simple shops. You can be selling same products, but the way you handle your customers and you talk to them, different. We used to make a joke about, not a joke, but a serious one. Shops of Wahindis those days. Next door is an African shop. They've just opened. Also, Africans are getting into business. Here are Asian shops that are running and so on and so forth. You go to an Asian shop, right from the beginning, they receive you very highly. I'm not exaggerating, but I'm saying what is happening. You receive very highly. You get there, the Muhindi is already there. Sir, come in, welcome, please. Yeah, with all respect. Why? Because they want that money from your pocket in a nice way. So you come in, they show you an array of goods. Sir, we have a new latest designs. What do you want? Can we help you? When you say, this one, they give another one. This is what we have. And when you ask another, yeah. And when they ask something, they may not have this. Sir, can you wait? Can you check on us in half an hour's time? We'll have it. And you have an hour's time, you get the product, and so on. An African shop, those days, I'm quoting real examples. An African shop, you go there, the owner is seated behind the counter, they're seated and looking, behaving very busy, doing their own things. When you get in there, unless you ask, they will not ask you, they look at you as if you're suspicious, as if you are not selling things, you are not actually a customer. I mean, the attitude, handling customers, key. That's what they're saying here. It makes a difference. Trends today is that you must persuade that customer. You must reach them out. Just like your university reaches you out to you. We are concerned about your studies, your welfare. You must register. Tell your friends who are not registered, they have been left behind. With this COVID-19, it's a new normal. We go out, customers, we go out to reach your customers and make them feel at home. This is my institution. I belong here. They value me. These are kind of things we're talking about, differentiation and so on. Capacity building, this is another trend that we see today. There'll be a lot of capacity building. Capacity building in terms of retooling, training. Finally, more than ever, it's become an alarm yourself to arm yourselves with the right business systems. Business coaches are there. Other information, retooling and upskilling yourselves. Then cloud computing. Now you don't have to have physically or financial being done by your accountant. You can have it being done by someone else somewhere else. Cloud computing. They're doing this. This is sudden renting of room and administrative costs are not there. You have subcontracted. Other people are doing it. And they are doing it in terms of what? If it is a question of the technology, there are companies in India which are keeping, for example, India or other part of the world, which are keeping records and books for companies in Kenya. So what you need to do is only collect the data and have the right software, the data point of sale, the records are done, but they are being processed elsewhere and so on. Then collaboration and partnerships are there today. You see here. Yeah. Before I go to this, even here, not only I want to expand this to go further into terms of even manufacturing. Yeah? Manufacturing is there are parts manufactured in China, there are some manufactured in let's say Australia, and they're all assembled in one place, and so on. But this of cloud is keeping your records actually out elsewhere. You only need a simple office and equipment and software to have your financials being done by someone elsewhere or whatever, designs and so on. Collaboration and partnerships are a key today. Those are key without really going very far. Now, I want to pause there for now. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we want to ask ourselves, thank you and God bless you. But before I do that, I want to wish you well for this class. The notes will be available. If there's any questions, comments, please, you can raise them as we go along, because we are saying learning is continuous. We'll still revisit some of these topics later on, but you'll have the notes. You also have other information that's available for you. So I want to wish you well. I want to end this class by saying thank you for listening. And thank you for being available. Tell your friends. I can see we are oscillating between 35, 38. Where are the others? That's the question. Why are they not in class? Some rely on notes only. You should be in class to listen, to contribute. Those of you who have contributed, thank you very much for your contributions. I want to wish you well. God bless you. Thank you. Yes.